Hello, hello. Happy Monday, everyone. And more importantly, happy December 1st. There we go. We got the today command. So I have mentioned it in the title. No, I mentioned it in the description, and I just mentioned it there in the today command, but we have to go back to localization for a bit. And the reason why is kind of stupid. I have a Copilot subscription, and as part of this, you get 200 premium requests per billing month. And my billing month ends on the 4th, and I've used 0 of these requests. And I wanted to try this for translation. I don't expect it to do a perfect job, but I also don't expect it to be wrong on every single translation. And I think it might save some time. So we might not get to that on stream because we still have to do some of the legwork for this. Well, let's go start that legwork. Hey, Flair. Him, the player of games. Yeah, I tried Flair's game over the weekend. And it's really cool to see what the community does with anything in particular. But Flair, I've already seen some pictures. I've heard them talk about this. And yeah, I don't think I have too much else to say. I made a video. I also did this for Smalls the Kobold. And yeah, so I did 2 videos on their games. I just shared it with the creators of the games. It's not public. So yeah. So not a Flare target. Well, actually, the AI stuff's probably not today. I'm probably still doing the boring, like, go through the code and fix some strings kind of thing today. So this, assuming you like boring streams, would be a Flare targeted stream. All right, where's my tenant review thing? Here we go. Copy, paste. Okay. I wanted to work extra last week, but just didn't. I'd say that's pretty sustainable. And what did happen last week in terms of tasks? Because I think the whole week was just bricklaying. I don't think there was anything interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Last week was almost 100% bricklaying. I guess I'm taking this to mean small, like boring or unfun tasks that I have to slog through, since that's when I invoke this mentality. Oh, to prog tomorrow? Oh, how are you feeling? Have you gotten better? I hope you enjoy the travel. Okay, let's go do this stuff. All right, so I can't delete everything from here because I think we're using something, but I should go take a look. What's in here that we still need? There's set locale. That sounds like it's pretty important. This is called from here. Yeah, so this is still needed. Figure out initial locale, also probably needed. Yep. On translation changed and notify node. Yeah, I think both of these are needed. So yeah, everything in there is fine. All needed. String extensions. This may not be fine. I don't think any of this is even used. It's used by Godot extensions, presumably not needed. And then in the test. Okay, so we can probably delete that. Probably the same thing here. It's only used internally. TRF, guessing the same thing. Man, being able to do all this at once in one function is pretty nice. And it'd be nice if we could keep this. I guess the string format thing. Actually, let me try something here. Return hello 0. There is no format on here, is it? There is. And this is the same as string.format. Why am I not doing this? Oh boy. Let's go look at the C# playground. There might be a reason. I don't remember what it is. So if I say you have a 0 chance of having done things correctly, then we format this with 1 and 3. And then we run. Cannot convert from float to format provider and then into string. So this does work differently. What are the arguments here? A format provider and then the format. Yeah, because this is a static function. Okay, yeah. This is kind of what I thought. So there's no non-static function. I mean, I guess there's format helper, but that's private. And string itself doesn't have a format that's not. I wonder why they did this. C# non-static string formatting. I mean, I guess I could just write my own extension that calls into this. Wouldn't be hard to do. Static and non-static string variables is not really what I want. Oh, just the $sign, I guess, which I can't use in this particular case. Could I? I don't think I can. Yeah, I don't think I can. Yeah, so I would just make an extension method, which I don't think I want to do for right now. But yeah, the reason I mention this at all is because we have a lot of string format translate calls like this, and it'd be nicer to write it like this. Something's wrong here. Oh no, it's just a spacing thing. I'm like, this can't be right. Yeah. So this is slightly cleaner because we don't need string dot here. But in order for me to do this, I need to make some sort of, I need to make a string extension. And then I need to change our analyzer to be able to find this. And it's probably not trivial to do that. It's trivial to make the extension. But yeah, let's not worry about this for right now. Hopefully I haven't made any changes here. Got much better, but nowhere near 100%. As long as I don't take a sudden turn for the worse, should be fine. Well, also you have another, well, half a day, I guess, to get better. Another rest in between you and the flight, I guess. Hey, Diamond. What's translate in your context? Like language? Yeah. So this is the English string. And if you were playing in French, let's say, then it would pull in the French string for this. All right, so going back a step to this I18 string extension. So I looked at this. This isn't being used. This isn't being used. And this isn't being used. So now we get to these. Still nothing. And this, ideally, nothing. Yeah. So I don't think this entire class is needed. Let's delete it. So that's done. Deleted. And then Godot extensions. And yeah, I'd be pretty surprised if any of this were used. It's not. So now delete that too. Save a reference to those in deleted code. Let's look at deleted code. I think I already mentioned things about translation, source generators. Where I remove this. Source generators. There you'll also see I18n/I18n string extensions, Godot extensions. For, I don't know, calling. Wait, this is what our formatting functions call. Which is what the source generated, I should say generated functions call. Is this the fun part of the stream? This is the very unfun part of the stream. Hi, Smack. Yeah. But it needs to be done. I mentioned it in the today command why I think it needs to be done pretty soon. And yeah. Either way, if you look at the next maybe 3 months of development, I would say that maybe like 15% will be normal, exciting. And then, yeah, 85% will be just tasks that we have to do to launch. So yeah, some of this 15%, I think controller support might be in there. I think Steam achievements will be in there. I think the end cutscene. And then, I don't know, maybe like a thing here or there, like playtesting. But yeah, otherwise it's going to be like, oh, polish this, fix that bug. That's what I tune in for, at least. Hey, Mitch. 15 normal, 85 extremely pog. Hey, Codex, do you need to do anything with bone mode after all the recent changes? Yeah, we need to look at that again and just make sure nothing's broken, but then also flesh out the last 10 difficulty levels. All right, so this I think is all finished. Is there anything else in that folder now? There were some tests. Yeah, this. Which I don't think any of this can even work anymore. Because we got rid of this, and this is the only test that we have. And we have a bunch of test data. And we just select it all, and... Oh, interesting. Test data source. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Is this stuff all just built into C#? NUnit. I don't think NUnit is built in. Oh, maybe it is. Is it? Do they add it? .NET new NUnit? Include NUnit. Yeah, where does this come from? Yeah, there's an include here using NUnit.framework. I just, who made this? That's all I'm trying to figure out. Is it Microsoft? Is this owned by Microsoft? No, it's not. Supported by the .NET Foundation. Okay. Yeah, I was just curious. All right. Well, anyway, seems like a neat framework that we're actually about to gut from this. Made by some guy in a basement. I see. Yeah, so I think we delete all of this, which means we probably delete this as well. And now, is anything else in that i18n folder? How do we even find that? Source. There it is. Notify, translate, change, and locale data. I think this stuff's still needed. Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, it definitely is. A very nice home office. You never know. Maybe it's a dank basement. And this should be done too. Yeah. Okay. I think that's it as far as gutting that stuff goes. There's nothing else in this well, there's this. Oh, wait. What is, yeah, what is all this doing here? Did I miss this? Adventurer strings. Oh, this is, oh, I thought this was in a different folder. Okay, I know what I'm doing. All right, great. So we're done. So remove unused code. Probably press F5 to make sure the code's actually unused. Yeah, it should just be a bunch of deletions. I don't think I added anything. No, I didn't. And it builds, so we can reasonably assume this is going to work. All right, let's turn that off. Let's turn that off. And there we go. There was some i18n code that was only needed by source generators, but we removed those a little while ago. All adventurer data needs to be translated. We probably need functions for all those strings. Yeah. So I mentioned this already, but over the weekend, I wanted to work on this stuff. And I started on my to-do list, and I got some things done here. Like, I didn't do nothing over the weekend. But then Jitspo is doing, like, an indie showcase. And it's on a Saturday a couple weeks from now. So whatever that works out to be. 12 days, 13th. I think it's December 13th. Anyway, he's doing an indie showcase, and he wanted a 15-second trailer from everybody. Or, like, essentially a trailer, a gameplay thing. And, man, this took me a long time to do. You think 15 seconds and you're like, oh, it should take maybe a minute or 2 minutes or something, right? But I planned out what am I going to do. At first, I was like, okay, I'll vocalize everything. It'll just be like when someone comes into the stream and they're like, what game is this? I could just share it, and that didn't feel exciting. So then I changed it and changed it and changed it. I eventually got to what I posted on Blue Sky, which is this, which I'll play here. Okay, so that's it. It's 15 seconds. I think it's pretty good. This is really just for Jitspo's thing that I did this for, and I thought I might as well post it on Blue Sky. The thing I don't really like about Blue Sky is it's hard to tell who's actually engaging with this other than these two metrics. Like, I can't see how many views the post has or anything like that. And I didn't see any uptick in, it's not like people started playing the game as a result of this. And nobody followed me or anything. So anyway, it just feels like I just send this stuff into the ether. I probably need to do this on a daily basis or something and just inject this into people's heads. I'm in that showcase as well, but I literally just recorded the game for 15 seconds. But I think my game is much clearer from 15 seconds of gameplay. Yeah, I didn't think it would be clear from just playing this. But yeah, so I looked at his list. He's got this site and he listed out a bunch of games, and it's like game 1, comma, game 2, and so on and so forth. So I just counted the commas and then I multiplied by 15 seconds per video, and he's got 33 minutes worth of video already. And the submission deadline is, I don't know, like a week from today. And I think he's traveling right now. So by the end of all of this, he might have like an hour worth of videos. It kind of makes me wonder what will be the value for any individual person in this, because this tends to happen with a lot of these sorts of things, just phenomena in anything. Like, let's say there's a competition or something, or I don't know, yeah, a product showcase like this. It's like if you have 1,000 things for display, people might tune in at the beginning, they might tune in at the end, and they might care about those things the most. Like, especially if there's a lot of hype, people watch like the first 2-3 things in the video probably. Then they'll be like, okay, I'm done. I mean, how many people are going to watch every single thing? So yeah, I think it's good he's doing this, and I plan on tuning in if I can. I don't know how much I would watch. There also probably can't be a lot of discussion in between if they're just 15 seconds. Need like 3D battle animation with epic music. Make it in trace game. Have nothing to do with the main game. I'm not sure what the second part of that message means. I get that it's a joke message, but I don't know what the second part means. Yeah, I there's this concept, I think only in kind of the mobile game realm, where the ad doesn't match the game. I don't think I've ever seen this in desktop gaming or console gaming, but in mobile games I've seen it, and I haven't really cared too much because I don't really play a lot of mobile games. Hey Mohit Kumar, yeah, I responded to your comment. Well, at least if it's before when my stream started. I know you're pushing for like another keyboard video, and I'm not necessarily opposed to doing it, but my video production schedule is anemic right now. So I think just that comment I left about layers is pretty much the most important thing I have to share. Said he would stop on games that he or chat finds interesting and go to the Steam page. Seems like there's no downside. Yeah, I agree. I think the only part I maybe slightly disagree with is the no downside part, which is like I invested maybe whatever 2 hours into making a trailer that otherwise has no real purpose. And like if I'd spent 2 hours reaching out to YouTubers, it might be a better bang for my buck. But anyway, yeah. I also want to hype up the stream myself to get other people to look at this thing, because Jitspo is doing this. I think that's really nice. Like, none of this is a knock on Jitspo. It's just the more people join anything, the harder it is to extract value out as one of those creators. Lurking today, bad mood swings today. Oh, hi, Leap Your Girl. Yeah, virtual hug. Man. you do is make little shorts midstream about the dev progress to show little things you made or are working on, then post it to make hype. I don't know. Yeah, I need to do more marketing. I think that's the short story. I think making shorts midstream is probably difficult. Can you use that trailer any other time, or will the game change enough that it won't be worth it in a few months? I could use it. I just don't know where. So I've kind of mentioned this issue before. Like, we have a product that we want to advertise, right? And it is the game. Then you make marketing material. And in this case, it's the trailer. Now you have to spread the trailer. And it's like, if you can spread the trailer, couldn't you have spread the game to begin with? So, like, yeah, I have now a 15-second trailer that I could use, but no one was really watching the first trailer to begin with. If you look at the main trailer that was here, it's got 286 views. So let's say this 15-second trailer gets 500 views or something. It's like, these aren't, huge numbers that are going to change the game a lot. Hey, Seshamara. Okay, so we got to translate all this stuff. We have a display name, a higher description, and that's pretty much it. These things are going to change to be functions. Which is going to break everything. So all the display names should fit on one line, right? Yeah, they do. So that'll make it easy to translate them all because we just do this and do that. Adventurer names. Then we go use that. Will I do AOC? Advent of Code? No. I have too much stuff to do already. I'd like to do Advent of Code at someday, some point. But yeah, I just can't justify the time right now. Hey Chase, I have the VS Code video there that talks about some of the extensions that I use. Honestly, those are kind of the only ones I think are probably worth sharing. Yeah. What I just did here did not involve an extension, by the way. That was just multiple cursors. Yeah, one of these years, I'm an addict find. Yeah, I know. It's kind of wishy-washy to say that and then never do it. But it truly is a vague intention of mine. All right, so translate this. Adventurer descriptions. Hopefully I typed that correctly. Looks like I did. And that's it. So now this file should be fine, but anything using this file will be broken. So let's just press F5 and find all the errors. Yeah, hey Silex, the puzzles are always available. Can always revisit them. Yeah. And I've seen people do that too. And yeah. The things, by the way, that are on my radar like that, Advent of Code is something I'd like to do at some point. I know NaNoWriMo changed or went away or something, but just the concept of like write a whole novel in a month. I'd love to try that someday. So these are things, I think Advent of Code is a much lower commitment. You can do like one puzzle and be fine. You can't really do this without writing the whole novel. That's the point. And it's a lot of writing. It's like hours every day. So yeah, that's something I want to do at some point in my life too. And then I had this idea the other day, which I don't think I'm going to do this, but like, okay, after Skeleseller, I thought, what if I just spent a year learning more piano improv? And I think I would dislike it. I think it would alienate my audience. And I think I'd get, well, I think this kind of fits into this, which is I'd get bored. I think that's why I would dislike it. I'd have certain expectations, but I think it'd be really good for my piano playing. You want to write a novel? Yeah. Hey, Sam. Interested in the one that shows the error message. Oh, that's error lens. Yeah. Shows them in line like that. If I want to become a software engineer, what should I learn after data structures and algorithms? I don't really think of software engineering as, well, anyway, let me just think about this, because this is like a different take on this. Most people start with, hey, I don't know anything. So if you've already started with data structures and algorithms, I would say make projects, like actual projects, and see what it's like to solve practical problems. See what it's like to maintain a code base. and eventually see what it's like to work with other people. I think those are the things that are pretty important, because this is what your job actually looks like when you're a software engineer. It's not just, okay, come up with a new data structure, figure out the time complexity. It's like, okay, now use those things to make a website that does X, or make a game that, yeah, has multiplayer in it or something like that. And until you've made actual projects, none of the theory really matters, I'd say. I guess it's kind of, I'm taking a very high level stance here of theory on its own kind of doesn't help until there's some practice. And it could be 99% theory to 1% practice, but if it's 0% practice, it's like, well, what was the point of the theory then? Hey, Rough Cookie. Please do try to watch segmenting, by the way. And hey, Goose. Add NAND to Tetris on your list? What's that? Does that like make a hardware version of Tetris? Something like that. Have I never known this? I think you should write a novel. Just didn't know it was a thing. I've written some things, and I started writing a novel, but I didn't get very far in it. I got maybe like a quarter of the way complete, and it took me years. But yeah, someday I'd like to get back to it. Yeah, I don't have a command about it. Anyway, Samuel, I hope this helps. Like, this is what I think would be next. Also, potentially, you could say seek out a job. But I think seeking out a job is also predicated on having some project experience. Otherwise, they might find it hard. All right, so we have 9 errors here. Let's go fix them all. This stuff should be pretty simple. This is initializing a party member that we have here, so that should be fine. Then what do we have over here? You know, maybe I should just have a get display name for this. Public static string get display name, and maybe like a get description. Or get higher description, I guess, if that's what we're calling it. I'm guessing that is what we're calling it. Otherwise, yeah. Okay, so then these would change to, ooh, well, we already have the adventurer data. Yeah, I think that's fine. So this would just be get display name. And what else do we have? If we're never using get higher description, I'm going to go delete that. Yeah, same thing here. So this should probably be renamed to get display name. And this to get higher description. Anywhere else we have problems here? Get display name. And here, this is get higher description. Then display name again. And the same thing there too. Get display name. Okay, how is that looking? Let's try it. There might be one other error I forgot. Autobiography. I don't plan on writing one of those. Start coupling NAND gates to build other logic gates, and eventually an arithmetic logic unit, then some RAM, SNR latch, and some instruction executor, then Tetris. Oh, it's done in an emulator. Okay, I see. Well, but still, it's focusing on the, yeah, building it up from scratch bit, just so that you don't actually have to buy these things and, you know, deal with tiny parts. But yeah, I wonder how helpful that is for people nowadays. Like, I've always kind of said this, all learning is good learning. At least, you know, tech learning, that sort of thing. I'm not trying to be super descriptive about this. So from that point of view, I think it's good to do. But starting from scratch with something nowadays, so if you did this 40 years ago, going from scratch to like modern practices would be a much smaller trek than it would be today. Like, this would be a larger layer of abstraction here. And I just wonder, is it worth covering like this amount of stuff, you know, from scratch to like 40% of the way there? And it always reminds me of that Carl Sagan quote, to make an apple pie from scratch, you must first construct the universe. It's like, is starting with a NAND gate too far up on Scratch? Should you start with like making a silicon chip? should you start with chemistry? Should you start with like, I don't know. And of course, everyone has to draw the line somewhere, right? Because if you do keep going this back, you will have to create the universe. So it's like, all right, well, we're starting there. And I'm asking, why even start there? Why not start like on that arrow where you're like, oh, let's learn a computer language and let's use it. Hey, DanoWeb, long time since I've been here. How did the auto robot multiplayer game work out? Where you could chain commands with auto run? Yeah, so I've got a postmortem linked through this. Unfortunately, it's a couple of links, so I'm mostly linking that for myself. Let me link it to you through this. Okay, here's the postmortem. It went about as well as what people could probably expect. But yeah, welcome back. Hope you've been well. We've been working on Skeleseller lately now, so I'll just link another couple things if you want. But yeah. I've never heard that quote, but I really do love that. Yeah, yeah. It's like a lot of people, the colloquial way of making apple pie from scratch is like, go buy apples, right? Go buy cinnamon, go buy whatever flour to make the crust. And it's not go buy apple seeds. And even then it's like, well, how'd you get the apple seeds? Hey, happy chappy. Yeah, start by making fire, then the wheel, then go do all your project. It's good to know how the electricity works on the chip though, but I wouldn't, like I said, it is from this point of view, but it's not really from any other point of view. Like, do you think it matters to most developers nowadays that they understand how electricity works? I don't think it is. I think even things like V equals IR, do you think this matters to the average developer? I just disagree with that. I think it's good to learn in the sense that you will form connections between knowledge and you'll learn how to learn, and it'll clarify things that, who knows, maybe could help. Let's say you get like super into the hardware level and you're having a difficult time. I don't know, like, why isn't this LED turning on, to give an example that struck me. And then, yeah, it's probably pretty good to know how electricity works. But yeah, like if you're a game dev nowadays and you're working on a real engine, this really doesn't matter. That's a problem I had for years. I actually still have it sometimes. I've gotten better about the trust and the abstraction. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Cuddlefish. Okay, so this is the last one of these that we have. And now we should be able to run this. What about stuff like memory cache? I think it all depends on what layer you're working with. And that's kind of the point I'm trying to make, which is why I'm digging into this a little bit more. Like, if you are developing some, like, I don't know, a website, and your website is going to take roughly like 1 megabyte of RAM, could you get it to work in 50 kilobytes? Like, probably. But in today's day and age, we're talking about an amount that is so negligible that it really doesn't make much of a difference. At least, and again, it depends on what website you're making. If this is like NASA communicating to some rover on Mars, then yes, cutting it down to 50 kilobytes matters probably quite a lot. But just think, like, what's practical in whatever you're developing. And even memory caching or garbage collection or anything, it's like, hey, if your code is leak free, if people aren't complaining about the performance, does it matter much? And I'm not saying you shouldn't learn this. I'm just saying I don't think there's a major impact on people. And yet I hear this dogma, I hear it starting about, oh, people won't understand the basics or the foundation of all of this. And my stance is kind of just, they don't really have to. Like, think about even sine and cosine. Do you think many people nowadays won't even remember what any of the applications are for these, but then also how you would calculate sine and cosine? Do you think people could do that with, like, I don't know, even square root at this point? If I said, without a calculator, find the square root of 7. It's like, you don't need to know this. You just don't. You have a calculator. And I think it's kind of the same with like memory caching or electricity or anything else. It's like, when that becomes a problem for you, I think you can learn it. I think it's still good to learn it ahead of time, but not because it's going to become practical to most people on their jobs. To build on that, with the creation of cloud, developers don't even need to understand much about computers now. They can upgrade their VM or cluster size to the next tier and it magically functions better. Yeah, and it's like, okay, let's say a company ends up spending more money as a result of that. Then it becomes a problem. And then you're like, okay, I will tackle this now. So yeah, I think there's a limit to the whole, yeah, you need to understand foundations. And I suppose just sort of empirical evidence of this is, look at people who didn't learn foundations and are making a living, who have made software. Has it hurt them drastically? Probably no. Probably it's hurt them somewhat, maybe a tiny bit, maybe once in like a year. Okay, I think we've changed this such that this is now fine. Thankfully, this was an easy change. I don't know why ads are running when they are, by the way. It runs at like 5 minutes in, and then it runs again at 35 minutes. I wonder if I accidentally changed some settings. Hang on, let me go take a look at this really fast. Excuse me. Oh my God, it did change. Oh man, okay. I think I was clicking some buttons to show people this the other day, but there's no explicit save on this page. So I must have accidentally changed this by clicking automatic and then manual again. Oh man. All right, well, let's do that. Yeah, because I want to time it with my breaks. Pretty sure that if computers magically forget how to calculate sine or cosine, modern society ceases to exist. Well, if computers forget how to do something, I mean, modern society could cease to exist. Like, if they can't add numbers anymore, I'm pretty sure that would break every single computer program out there. So, yeah, sine and cosine probably not as important as addition, but still, I imagine a ton of stuff would break. I think anyone who does any coding needs to do algorithms and data structures 101. Those are core skills. I think needs always has to be qualified. Like, I know this is extreme and contrived, but you don't need oxygen. You need oxygen in order to live, right? So you don't need algorithms and data structures. You need algorithms and data structures in order to something, right? Performant code, not struggle with refactoring or something like that. So if you qualified, I could maybe agree with it, but I don't think just full stop they need it. I think you'd need to say why they need it. It's definitely not them changing settings. I don't think it is them changing settings. I did mess with this the other day just to show someone because they were complaining about ads. Yeah. Okay, so this is done. Modify all adventurer, or like translate strings in all adventurer data. I also had to convert them to func string. I already looked at this, and there are no build errors. So now we would extract a bunch more strings. Yeah, I don't think there's a reason to look through that anymore. Unless there are other strings in here that I missed. Although we do need to take a look through pretty much everything else in the code base. I don't see any other strings in here. The only other ones are the paths and an exception. Yeah, 2 exceptions. Okay, I think this is fine. Enjoyed the demo? Nice. Nice. What was that Intel chip that failed to calculate very large numbers in MATLAB? I recall that resulted in tons of costly lawsuits. Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember that chip. But yeah, that's an example of something where it's like, all right, in order for your business to not fail, you do need to know these things. Also, it's like if you're an electrician, you need to know how electricity works. I'm just saying, as a computer scientist, I don't think you generally need to know a lot of this stuff, at least not on a day-to-day basis. I was thinking about Toby Fox when it comes to people needing to know stuff about coding. Man coded one of the staple pieces of art in the last 20 years, rewarded financially. Do any good code practices? Yeah. Well, and that's why I think, well, just to be clear here, must is pretty much the same as need. And I think you have to qualify them for them to matter in a context. And especially when we're talking about something subjective. And the subjective thing is, I guess in this case, how to build software, or maybe even how best to build software. So like you can build software by never using a for loop for iterating over ranges. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess you technically can. You could write a function that recurses. It'd be stupid, but you could do that. And I think most people would probably say it's important to know for loops as a programmer just to get by your day-to-day life. All right, all item data. The uses notes directly, I think, is a problem. Has translate calls to use notes. The other thing is we don't translate the display names. And we have a lot of extra items, which I hope I wrote down. Yeah, I need to remove those. Well, there's all the stuff we're doing today. Not if you use tail recursion. No, I mean, it'd still be stupid to do that. I recognize that you're not adding memory with every call and that the compiler can change it, but like it's not idiomatic of how you'd write code. If you have a for loop that says like for I from 0 to 10, print I or something like that, and you wrote this as a function, like function print I, print I, and then call it again, print I plus 1, and you have some base case here of like, this would just be, it'd be bad to do. You can do it. It's not idiomatic, so it would make your code harder to maintain. Hey, push toy. Okay, so we got to translate all of these things, and display name should be get display name. Yeah. Get display name. Okay. So hopefully all these display names fit onto one line. Whoops. Yep. Cool. Which means that just using multiple cursors is good enough. Translate this item names. Done. And then I should have written this as get display name. All right, that's going to break everything. Get display name. There we go. All right, let's see where the errors are in here. Yeah. Okay, so the easiest way to do this is just call it get display name everywhere, call display name. But if all we're ever doing is getting this for its display name, then we could make an all item data.get display name like I've done for other things. Which in this case, I guess let's do. Get display name item ID. There, yeah. Now we delete that. Well, we don't really delete that. Okay. All right, we're only getting item data for the sake of a display name, so we just change this here. This is also making me happy. I just wrote that function. What about this? Item data is passed in. So in this case, we will change it to this and not replace it with a get call from all item data. What is this one? Same thing. Good. Quest. What are we getting? Display name. Display name. And item. Oh, I didn't realize we had this. Okay. And then this is the final one. All right, let's try that. People do the same with Celeste and say big player class is bad. Yeah, I've heard about this. I think it was like more than 10,000 lines. And I think people do generally point to this stuff with the message of kind of what Flair was saying, which is like code doesn't have to be perfect to be in a top selling product, I guess. Which I think is a message most people can agree with because it's, practically factual. The perfect part is subjective, and I guess top selling is subjective too. But you could definitely put metrics behind this and be like, oh, products have made at least $3 million or something. And then perfect, you could just say for any given thing, like file sizes should be less than 10,000 lines of code or something. Or, I don't know, use switch statements or anything. And then you could say like code doesn't need to meet these requirements in order to sell. What's a quote? Perfect is the enemy of good. Yeah. Or anything like that. The advice of, yeah, don't let achieving perfection get in the way of your immediate needs. $16,000 lines. Yeah. Okay, so this should be done. Oh no, the using notes directly I haven't done. Whoops. Well, I also hadn't translated all of item data, which now I believe we have. The only way to test this stuff is to go generate more strings and then write them in Spanish and then make sure that they show up, and it's just not worth it. So yeah, if it builds, I'm happy with it for now. And yeah, hi. I don't know if you heard me say hi earlier. Okay. Yeah, this all looks pretty reasonable. I wouldn't expect anything. I mean, this wasn't a complex commit. Have you ever tried Rider? No, I haven't. And welcome in Singular Coffee. I would like to at some point, and it's mostly just been laziness for not trying it. And the laziness is not what you'd expect. The laziness is I want to email JetBrains asking for a key for free, and I just haven't done that. This is my stuck-up influencer-ness. Anyway, yeah, so I haven't tried it. Translate item display names. Also had to convert them into a func string. Okay, cool. Their license model changed? Wait, really? Pricing? For learning and self-education, open source without any commercial. Wait, no, this isn't true. I'd still have to use a commercial version. I'm not saying, well, sorry. Okay, their license might have changed, but at least as far as I'm concerned, it's can I click this button? And the answer is no, not for Scala Seller. Yeah, I'm just really opposed for some reason to subscription software. Even with Obsidian itself is free, but they have their sync and their publish. And I just really don't like the idea of integrate something into your life that has a cost for the rest of the time that you use it. And yeah, that just rubs me the wrong way. Couch, thanks for the resub. Happy quarter of a year. Everything is a subscription now. It sucks. Hey, Connery. Well, you know what started this in my mind? And I'm not saying this is the start of it for everybody, but at least in my mind was the Adobe suite. There was a time when you could buy Photoshop. And now I believe pretty much all of their tools are subscriptions. I know some of them just became free or something like that, but I feel like that was done for competition's sake. And I never really learned Photoshop. But then the reason I started using GIMP is I'm like, okay, well, it's free. Like, how am I going to use that? Think of the shareholders. Man, every company that I think has been good at some point eventually goes bad once they go public. So Amazon I actually used to really like. I remember shopping from Amazon back in like, I don't know, 2011 or 2012, I think. And I was like, man, this is just a good company. They got good customer service. They got cheap prices. They got whatever else. And now I don't think, well, maybe their customer service is still good, but I don't think the cheap prices are there anymore. And I think just in terms of kind of global impact, Amazon has had kind of a mega impact. Hard to say if it's good or bad exactly, because in some cases I think it's probably been good. But then Costco, I like Costco right now, but I think they're kind of headed down this track too. They're a public company. Their CEO doesn't care as much about employees as the prior one did. So now, at what point in the future am I like, oh yeah, I used to shop at Costco before they turned evil or something like that? So I'm just trying to hold on to this for as long as I can, because it's nice to have a company that you like and you enjoy their services or their product or something, and they're doing well in your mind and they're doing right by you. And then eventually that slips away. Oh no, I like using Obsidian. It's just sync and publish. I use free alternatives. So I'm not paying for these things. And that's all that rubs me the wrong way. Also, it doesn't rub me the wrong way that they have sync and publish plans. Like, these probably help a lot of people. And it's nice that you can use free alternatives. It just doesn't sit well with me to, spend whatever, $200 a year on like note taking. Because then I look at it as it's like a cost to live my life. And it would probably push me toward making this software myself at some point. It started it for me, cable TV, ruined it for everything else. I think there are some subscriptions where it makes a little bit more sense that it's a subscription. Like, let's say you're getting, I don't know, meal deliveries or something like that. It's like, okay, there's work that goes into every meal and there's physical stuff that goes in every meal. Obviously the food, but then also the packaging, the logistics, the whatever else. To the point where I could say like, all right, if there's a subscription for this, that's pretty reasonable. Like, I don't know if there'd be another monetization model that makes more sense than that. Maybe just paying per meal or something. But anyway, yeah, there are costs associated with it. And I get that software has the same sorts of things, just not as much physical stuff. There's still work involved. There's still some maintenance that goes into it. So, yeah, I think this just purely comes down to what does it feel like in my life to have a bunch of fees hanging over me for things that I could get rid of myself. Like with Netflix, I can't go make a movie myself and then enjoy it. Or at least not on that scale. So it's like, well, you gotta buy someone else's movies then. Imagine if Steam went public. Yeah. So sorry, that was the undertext, the subtext of everything I was talking about there. Valve is another one of these companies that I think is doing pretty well. I think they have some questionable practices. Some people talk about their platform fees of 30%. Some people talk about like CS gambling or whatever else. But in terms of just a game platform, it's fantastic. They have a ton of different features. They're branching out into hardware. They're just doing a great job right now. And yeah. Literal worst thing about Amazon is that their algorithm is like this. Oh, you bought a fridge? Do you want to buy another one? I don't think that's the literal worst thing about Amazon. I'm sure you can point to a bunch of other things that are bad. But yeah, it must work. That's what I just keep thinking. And if you think about it too, something can bother like 95% of a customer base, but that 5% can totally make up for it. And this is exactly why you have whales in free-to-play games. Like there's some bundle that's $100 for cosmetics or something like that. And you're like, who would do this? And whales are dropping like $1,000 on those bundles. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess they would do it. So there's got to be someone out there who buys a fridge and then they're like, yeah, I could use another one. Such that Amazon hasn't changed their algorithm, or maybe, yeah, it could be a blind spot. I think it's wrong to assume intent behind everything, but. Hey, Luna. Next project is you making free versions of subscription software. Well, enough of this has already kind of happened. Like GIMP exists for Photoshop, and what was I going to say? Audacity exists for probably, I don't know what. Anyway, there's a lot of these things, like Blender for any of the 3D modeling things. And I think Krita is open source. I don't remember. Or at least maybe it's free. Anyway, they're massive undertakings. And yeah, I don't think I'd want to get into that necessarily unless I want to maintain it. You know, things like storage is dirt cheap and they want to charge $20 a month. For what? Oh, for sync and publishing? I don't. So again, if you're going to talk about the subscriptions, I think it's worth knowing what costs go into it. What's that thing about if you have a plumber over, it takes them like 1 minute to point at a thing and fix it. And then they're like, yeah, but it took me years to get the knowledge to do that. So this ends up costing you, $200. And it's like, well, all you did was twist a wrench, right? And it's like, well, you are paying for some expertise. So yeah, syncing, you're not really paying for storage. You're paying for the technology that's getting all of this to work, the user experience, the amount of whatever maintenance time. And storage, well, you are, I guess, paying for storage, but storage is probably like a tiny part of that. So if a subscription costs $100 a year, then maybe the storage part is like 50 cents or something, or 25 cents even. I don't know. Again, I'm making up numbers here, but there is some cost associated with it. Didn't clarify, but that was satire because TV used to be broadcast. Oh, I see. Yeah. Those two things are the only things I don't like about Steam. I don't like the fact they charge 30%, but let huge studios get lower rates. Feels like it's backwards. Yeah, it does feel like it's backwards a little bit. And Epic, I think, changed this, right? Epic is free for the first $1 million, I think. And I've said this a bunch of times in the past, but most indie studios are not going to make $1 million at all. So it's just free for them, which is pretty great. At least in that respect. I think as a gaming platform, they're not as good as Steam. Yeah, in a lot of ways. Yeah, annoying for the average consumer. I was gonna say the most annoying thing for me as a consumer is when I say something like this. I won't say this aloud because I don't want to trigger anyone's thing. But yeah, what's the weather today? And it says something like it's X degrees outside. Did you know I can buy a pizza for you? I hate this, and so does everybody else apparently. And there's just no way to turn this off because otherwise everyone would just be asking about the weather and setting alarms and stuff, and nothing else. But I think this is like an interface problem. If all you have is a little puck that can talk to you, how would you discover functionality if it didn't tell you this stuff? So yeah, anyway, this is probably my most frustrating thing from a consumer perspective on Amazon. Because I'm trying to think of what else I use Amazon stuff for. And I don't count Twitch. Twitch does a lot of annoying things too, but Twitch is kind of sort of separate. I know it's under the Amazon umbrella. Kevin. Do you know Tantacruel? He's a YouTuber and head of Audacity now. Has a lot of interesting content. No, I haven't heard of that person. How many copies are you going to sell on Epic? Well, I think the nice thing about this is there's no exclusivity clause as far as I know. So even if you sell 0 copies, your monetary cost is 0. And ideally there's some overlap, there's some non-overlap of users between Epic and Steam so that you could, I don't know, reach out to maybe expand your audience by like 1%. It's like, okay, I think most people would take 1% more profit for pretty much no major work. It's probably not trivial to get onto the platform, but it's also probably not like a year's worth of work. It's just too far ahead in every aspect. Yeah. Codex. Spend 1 million plus on compute cost to factor out the please and thank you. Yeah. I've heard this. It's basically like stop thanking the AI. Yeah. Am I going to release on Epic? I've got a to-do item about it, and I don't know what I'm going to do. Publish Skeleton Seller on Epic Games. Okay. I forgot I did this. Maybe worth looking into some metrics. It may take us, say, a week, but if that only gives 50 sales, it's probably not worth it. Yeah, so it was basically figured out from a cost-benefit analysis. So I don't know. But yeah, I might do it. I love that meme. Hey, who cares? Maybe I'm biased, but there's no review system, no discovery, and so on. Yeah, and the thing is, I wonder how many people, if they do buy games on Epic, will go to Steam for reviews. Do you have any optimistic estimates for each platform? Not really. Yeah, it's hard to say. Because the only thing I kind of have to base this off is the data out there where people say this is how many wish lists I had, and here's how it converted to actual customers. So that's basically a percentage on average, and yeah, based on that the game would not do very well. So I need to do more marketing, and I want to start that up. I think what I need to do is like take some time away from development. This is the conclusion I keep coming to. I should probably write this down for myself. I probably need to take time away from development. So once we have localization and the new demo out, and the new play testers, I should focus on marketing again and content creation again. All right, so we have a couple of notes here, and this is not formatted correctly, so this shows up in the translated calls. Should be easy to change though, right? String.format translate. This is going to be a little annoying. Then I put this here, but I need to translate just part of this. Yeah, this is going to look bad. Item notes, I guess just notes. Hey, we did it. Okay, I think that'll work. And there are, what, 4 more of these? What? What is this? How is this even possible? How can you get a fish on the ground? I don't know how this can happen. Apparently you can't. Okay, well, that's one of those things that should probably get deleted then. Yeah, I should write that down. Item ID dot fish isn't used. Is translate a homegrown edition or a homegrown solution, or does it make use of a library? It's part of Godot. They have a translation server, and all it does is it takes in a string and then looks up that string in a file to see if you have your current language's version of that string, and if not, falls back to English. Can probably fall back to other languages, but yeah, we're in English. Hey, hard worker. Google Ads, maybe. Well, there's a lot of stuff that I got to do for marketing. Ads will probably be one of the things, but that'll probably be closer to launch. But I think a lot of influencer outreach and just my own content creation will probably help too. Would concatenating be better than interpolating for that last one, the carrot one? So if you're okay, so for this one, I wanted to indicate to any translators that there will be a note that goes here, and then they'll see the note next to it. But what I think might make this look a little bit better is changing it to a proper function and doing what we do for this. This is not ability notes. This is just notes. I hope I didn't mess that up somewhere else. All right, so this note goes here. And there is no argument for it. And then the formatted note is just that. And then we can just put that there. Yeah, I think this looks a little bit better. Why is there a semicolon expected here? Because I never returned this. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. Hey, Moogle. Doesn't this require you to maintain the string in 2 places? And I18N, you would just pass an ID, no? So in this case, the string is the ID. So if you look at our files over here, I don't have it for items yet, but if we look at like Fireball, the ID of this string is just Fireball. So that way, when you look at the Fireball code, it's pretty straightforward. It's just translate Fireball. This second string is just for context if we feel like it. We can also just ignore this if we want. But context is useful if you ever have multiple different ways a string could be interpreted. Like maybe OK shows on a button. And then maybe an NPC also says like, okay, let's move on now. I mean, you wouldn't have parameterized the string, but this is sort of a different OK than this one. Maybe the capitalization is different, or you spell this one out or something like that. So it just generates a file. So the thing that generates that file is xgetText. It goes through our code and it searches for, hang on a second. It searches for any of these keywords. So it's going to find any calls to translate. Anything with 1 argument is going to show up in that file. Anything with 2 arguments is going to have the context show up with a second argument. And then, yeah, so it'll extract it into these. So when I run generate, I'll run that right now, and you can see all these item names should now show up in the file that didn't show there before because I didn't have those before. So yeah, now we see like Fire Sword, Big Life Potion, Demon Helmet. All of these items are showing up because now I'm calling translate on them. Not sure I see why we make those 2 different strings, just so the color formatting is not in the translation. Yeah. I feel like keeping the initial text and the note together may make more sense. I think it would make more sense from a translation perspective, but yeah, I don't want there to be color logic in there. And I have this localization. I have this here. Yeah, I'm not sure. Because, yeah, this is option 1. And option 2 would be translate. Bring this to the chef's lime to cook it. Oh, well, other way around. A tasty carrot. And then color equals 0. And then string dot format. Translate this with that. Yeah. So there's option 1 and option 2. Hey, Hepta. How does it figure out the ID or generate the ID? So the ID is literally just so here's how this works. We have a literal string that is the ID, and then a literal string that is the context for that thing. So what happens is xgetText searches the code base for all translate calls. It takes the first argument as the ID, and it takes the second argument as the context, and it spits them into the .po file. So in this case, as an example here, we have fireball and we have like ability names. So when using this in our code, it's pretty natural. You know that this has to be translated, so there's got to be some kind of call here. And you could simplify this maybe to something like tr if you wanted to, or you could, anyway. So yeah, so you know that there's going to have to be a translation call around the string, because if it were hard-coded, it would just be in English. And then when you run xgetText, it's going to emit that into here with the message ID that it extracted. So this xgetText is just a program that you can get. It just says extract get text strings from source. So it knows how to parse certain languages. And here are some of them. It's not actually, oh, it might be all of them. Yeah, it knows how to parse certain languages. Yeah, okay, I see. Yeah. Yeah, so long strings are still going to show up as just the ID. Like this is the ID of this string. Grants the whatever ability, which blasts an enemy for some amount of damage. Yeah, I'm torn on this. I don't really know what I want to do here. And, oh man, this is one of the stupid chicken and egg problems that we have. My problem is that I don't know what translators will be annoyed at or confused by. And I don't want them to partially translate yet before I've done 2 things. Tested AI with this and extracted all of the strings. The problem with doing things this way is I'm going to extract all the strings by doing like I've been doing option 1 so far. So now if we decide option 2 is better, I'd have to go through the code and change every single one of those. But yeah, the question here, so that the pro of option 2 is the note shows alongside the thing that it's noting. And the con is that the translation file will contain formatting, which shouldn't be translated or even touched, really. Yeah. I guess the other pro, and it's shorter code, so it's easier to read/write. It sounds like a pain. Can you make a wrapper function so you can always update the changes to the wrapper instead of having to change so many things? So the you can, but there's a limitation with xgetText, which is a little bit annoying. These things have to be literal strings here. So let's say you did something like this: string name equals fireball, and then you said return translate name. Godot will be happy, and xgetText will not find this string because this is not a literal. This is a variable. What you could do then is you could write your own version of xgetText, which searches through all these calls and then follows the strings to figure out that you want fireball and then extract the string fireball. But I don't feel like writing that tool. You could also write your wrapper in such a way that your wrapper takes in literal strings. Yeah. What is xgetText? So xgetText is this program that extracts strings from your source. So it looks for something specifically in the form of method call, literal string, and potentially a context literal string. That's all it does. It just goes through all code searching for method, name, literal 1, optional, literal 2. Yeah. And then, yeah, it extracts the literals into a translation file. All right, so I want to write this note, and then I want to take a little bit of a break. So how about this? Yeah, there are two general styles you could approach this with. One is keep the formatting out of the translation files, and two is put the formatting into the translation files. To be clear, formatting means something like color equals red, which should never be translated since Godot parses the English text for BB code. Actually, I've never thought about that. Godot BB code in other languages. Is that a thing? Can you do that? I don't need to do this and it doesn't matter. I'm just curious. I don't think you can. I'd have to look at the Godot code base. I guess that'd be easier. All right, so let's go take a look at it. Again, just curious. This has no bearing on anything, so we're not going to try to spend a lot of time on this. But let's see if we can find their BB code functions. And actually, let's find some distinct BB code thing here, right? Like FG color. Yeah, they have literal string. Okay, yeah, so they don't seem to do this. That's fine. Just curious. If that's what it's doing, do you even need it? Sounds like Copilot, Claude AI can perform that extraction. So the thing about xgetText is that it is deterministic. So if you run it once on your code, it will give you the same results every single time you run it. With any sort of AI, you would, one, need to pay for the AI, but two, you would need to trust that it's giving you the right result. And there's a certain amount of variability where it's just not worth it. Remember, anytime you change the code, you might be modifying a translation thing. So like maybe Fireball, we change to Fire Blast. And now if the AI doesn't find this string, then that's, yeah, just too bad. And it might not correlate it to be the old string that we had here. There's some other logic around this. Yeah, it needs to run it every release, basically, yeah. All right, anyway, so I want to write these notes. Keep the formatting out of the translation file. So BB code adds formatting like text, which means you should decide whether you want to include that, whether you want that formatting to show up for translators or not. In some cases, you may. So now we do a for header here. All right, so excluding formatting from translation files. You may want to exclude the formatting because your machine translations may try translating them. They inflate the file and make it hard to tell it's actually localized. Okay, and including formatting. Maybe we should just put this one first. This is the easier way of doing things. This is easier to code and to understand. So it's just string damage string equals string dot format tr 0 damage color equals red crit. Oh god, it's so hard to figure out where these parentheses go. Okay, I think that's right. Let's just have this, highlight this in C#. Yeah, I matched the parentheses and everything. I just want to make sure it was good code for the note. This will appear in your translation file like so. We just copy paste this and then paste this over here. Oh, that did not work. There. Okay. All right. So we need to format this with some amount of damage. This we can just, yeah, this we can just delete. I want to keep these pretty simple. Okay. Pros and cons of including the formatting. Easier to code and understand. Do you also use Obsidian plugins or themes besides those mentioned in Obsidian? No, I don't use any community plugins. And this theme, I think, is just a default dark theme. What's kind of interesting is that if you just have text notes, you really only kind of need like 2 colors, a background color for your note and then the foreground color. I get that there's syntax highlighting, there's other UI here, but in general, all of that could even be light and I could just hide it most of the time. There. I know there's still tabs, so I'm simplifying. All right, so easier to code and and understand. See examples below. If you include the formatting. Cons, machine translations may try translating them, e.g. color equals, actually, let's translate this into anything, right? Let's just pick Spanish. Color is the same word. Okay, let's pick French then. How do I copy this? Here we go. Oh, what? What? There we go. And they inflate the translation file. It's easier to code. See example below. It's just one line. It's easier for the translator to see. The translator will see the string as one, only see a single string. Just type 5. Yeah. When excluding the formatting, In the example below where formatting is excluded, you end up with a string that just says crit with no context as to where this appears. You also get a string yeah, there. Okay, so I think this is better. And based on this, based on this, I think we go with this style. But I did mention wanting to take a break, so I think let's take the break and I'll just write where I left off here. Was debating on including the notes as a single string. If I do that, then I should probably change the whole code base. Also, are there any of these where this is actually going to make sense? Because I even have a note somewhere in the code about, like, yeah, the final parameter is a note. Grants these whatever ability, which blasts a single enemy with icy shards for 1 damage. And then there's a note that gets included. And the notes always look like this, which is kind of a mess. Maybe just try it with Ice Blast. Try it with Ice Blast and see if I like the change. I think I probably will like the change. All right. I'm taking a break. Is it jump time? Is it jump time? It's jump time. All right, every once in a while it doesn't get that. So for those who haven't seen this, you can type join in Twitch chat and then just try to jump to the top. It's a competition. Have fun. I'll be back in a bit. I'm going to run ads, by the way. Okay, I am back. Close the game. Welcome in, Tech. A Strawn and H. Mendoza. Close the game. Always ad breaks are hard to see. Yeah, that's intentional. Not that it's hard to see, but that I'm timing the ad breaks with my actual breaks. Because one of the things, I've mentioned this in the past, and anyone who hasn't heard this, I apologize for repeating this all the time. But in order to, if you're an affiliate or a partner on Twitch, you will have ads. There's no way to turn them off. And it's just a question of how many ads and when. And there's a concept of pre-roll, which is as soon as you show up to the stream, and then mid-roll ads. In order to get rid of pre-roll ads, you have to run at least 3 minutes of ads every hour. 3 minutes is actually a pretty good amount of time to take a break, maybe 3.5 minutes, something like that. So that's about the length of the jump game. And yeah, that's why I time it that way. Because otherwise people would see ads as soon as they show up to the channel. And then it's like, how do you even evaluate if you like the channel if you're immediately seeing an ad? Okay, so we can simplify this. I think I already have this written down right here. And then take a look at this and see how I like it. So it'd be either the top thing or the bottom thing. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is just better. Oh, Strawn and Dano, thanks for subbing. I appreciate it, you too. I'm just here to see what Adam talks about. Adam talk about what Adam said on Friday. Okay, yeah, I think we go with this. I think it's just better for translators. And if we were to translate this, okay, so here's the difference in terms of the file that we create. So this should have a tasty carrot in here. No, did I not do that yet? Carrot. What? I'm confused. Didn't this already exist in here? I didn't do anything with this just now, did I? Yeah, translate a tasty carrot. Why is that not in the file? Tasty. What? What am I missing? Did I not run this? I just wanted to compare the two things that show up here. Tasty. Okay, now it shows up. Having such a great time talking about tech and software engineering. I'll do this as well. Thanks for the bits. A sub and a bunch of bits. Hey, Shaky. Yeah, Luna. That's definitely the case. Like if I tune into someone and I just want to find out, do I even like this person? I don't usually want to stick around for a minute of ads. Then again, oh man, I don't know if I shared this, but I said my wife is currently traveling, so it's just me in the house, and I was like, oh, I'll watch more Twitch during that time. I realized I don't want to watch Twitch. Yeah. A long time ago, I started watching speedruns, and I really enjoyed that. And there were a lot of different speedruns, and speedrunning was still like relatively new. And I think streaming really helped it take off. Like it definitely existed on YouTube before that, but I think it became more mainstream when Twitch came around. And then after a while, there was software and game development on Twitch, and it was always in different categories. It started in like creative or back then, I don't know. There was a whole bunch of different things, and I would watch for the people, and I still appreciate the people, but I don't like watching software development. I don't think I would watch myself if I were not me. That doesn't make any sense. If I weren't me, I might like watching software development. But anyway, you get the idea, right? Like you could be the best software developer in the world. I don't think that's going to make me want to watch a stream of software development. It just doesn't appeal to me. And yeah, anyway, so I kind of dropped this whole like I should watch more Twitch thing. I feel bad because there is some amount of networking. And like I said, I do like the people. I just, yeah, it's just a voice in the background is the only reason I'd probably have it on. Better time with this than I do with Netflix or shows. Yeah. And really to each their own. I don't think producing something means you need to consume that thing as well. So this is the option 2 way of doing things. And the option 1 way of doing things is this. could be fatigue from doing so much dev yourself. Like I'm already doing this all day. I don't need to watch others do it all day. Yeah, it might be that. I never really thought about that. But I stopped watching even gaming streamers quite a lot. I think some of this also just comes and goes. There will be times when every day for like 2 months, I'll watch a YouTuber because they make a new video every day. And then the YouTuber doesn't change. They're still making videos. And just one day I stop and then that's it. I never go back to it. So I wonder if I'm just in that sort of cycle with Twitch and I'll get back to watching something at some point. All right, so where's the translation file now? There's the thing about a tasty carrot. Why is this not showing up? Oh, because it's a formatted string. Oh my God, yeah. So that doesn't even work. Oh my goodness. It will not show up when you do that. I need to have it detect that. Yeah, I gotta fix that. Change our analyzer to detect when you call translate this. It won't be picked up by xget text. Yeah, I see what you mean, Dana. Could be, honestly. Not watched Twitch like at all the past 5 years. Recently getting into it again. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I think about these things because one thing that's always struck me is when someone says, I want to do X, and then like months pass and they haven't done that thing. And to me, it means one of a few things. Either you didn't really want that, or you don't have the time or the resources or the motivation. And then something else could be like the circumstances don't align. So for example, like I want to see a comet. You can't just always do that. So that could be a circumstances thing. Or I want to do X, like I want to build a city. Well, you might not have the resources. But saying like, oh, I want to play a video game. It's like, well, if you own the video game already, then maybe if a couple months pass and you haven't played it, maybe you just don't really want to do it that badly. Or just you didn't want it more than other things you're doing. Like it's a low tier want. So yeah, I like to figure out why I'm saying those things. And yeah, I think it was just I felt the need like I should be networking more. And I don't I don't think that's a good reason to watch someone stream. All right, I think I've already made the decision here. I do want to go with this option that Kevin suggested. Yeah, I should probably write this. But every single thing with BB code, like every formatted note we have in the code base now needs to change. And I have 58 of those. Oh, man. Yeah. Search for every formatted note. Oh, wait. Did I remake the... No, I got to remake this again. Because I wanted to see what this showed up as just to do the final analysis of this. Yeah, a tasty carrot. And that goes here. And then there's one other bit, which is like bring this the chef slime to cook it. Where's that? Bring this to the chef slime to cook it. Yeah. Yeah, there is one other tiny thing about this. I guess a con of including the formatting is you can't reuse the string, the formatted string easily. In the Oh, sorry. Yeah. I don't know how that's happening. That I'm muting myself. Oh, you know what might be doing it? Okay, now I think I know what might be doing it. Yeah. I do have a mute key on my keyboard, but because it was unreliable in OBS, I never really used it. And now I guess it's reliable. I wonder if I should just remove the mute key on my keyboard or just start relying on it and then I'd be aware. No, wait, it's not working when I do this. No, this is exactly the reason why I was unreliable, because sometimes it would type a mute instead of muting the microphone. It works for my mouse. It doesn't work for my keyboard. Huh. Well, unreliably works from the keyboard. Anyway, thank you, Bums. I appreciate that. Totally relate to this. I used to play games all the time when I was younger, but now I sometimes even get stress symptoms when I try to play. Do you have other hobbies or activities you join outside of development? It's always good to balance things out. Yeah, I do, and I'm doing those things. I guess what I'm trying to say is just the Twitch part of it. I had this notion beforehand that, oh, I'll watch more Twitch, and it was just a matter of I need the time to do it. It's clearly not a matter of needing the time to do it. Why is it December? Yeah, I know. Somebody ask the calendar that, please. We talking about gaming as adults? I mean, we could, but in this particular case, it was just about I said I wanted to watch more Twitch and then didn't end up watching it and don't feel the need to watch it. And what I said didn't match my reality. And I always try to identify cases where that happens. Yeah, I think it's clear. This way is just better. Let's do it. All right. Well, you could work around this by... You could work around this by reusing the string. Well, like just the internal... the crit string or the whole color equals red. In other words, you don't need to include or exclude. Whether you choose to include or exclude a string doesn't mean you have to do that for every string in your code base. It's like my whole existence. I've been gaming a lot lately, I feel. And I played Kirby Air Riders on my own, and my conclusion is it's a good game. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. They do something weird though. They call them events in game where I don't even know how to fully explain this. It was just like play city trial, maybe with no changes, but only during certain hours per day. And they had these 2-hour blocks 3 times per day for maybe 3 days, or at least when I noticed it was only for like 3 days. So there were very few time slots I could actually do this thing and like complete the event. That was a bit strange to me. Like, why have the time slots? Maybe there were some special rules that I didn't realize. Like I think it was a 6-player match. Maybe the regular matches are like 12 players or something. So wait, am I doing this now then? Because if I'm doing this now, then I'm doing this everywhere. And I probably need to change my snippet too. Yeah, I really admire Sakurai. I think he's incredible. Yeah. Okay, so let's delete this cruft and this and this. Yeah, that's pretty neat. All right, fine. String dot format, translate all of this. Delete that. And then just put the color in here. Thankfully, AI can make at least this file a little bit easier. Yeah, so I want to delete that. I want it to replace all this stuff that it just did. And I want to do this in another few spots. This, and this next one. here. So these are all string dot format. And then hopefully it knows to change this for me. I guess it doesn't really matter. And then put this here. Good. Same thing with this. And this one. Cool. All right, any other notes? I guess anywhere we have help text color, we could find this. Yeah, here's one of them. This doesn't show up in the game either, though. This was in case I wanted treasure chests to be able to drop from the portal. Okay. Anywhere else? Looking good, looking good. Good, 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 good. Cool. Yeah, that's all of them. Felt a little too easy to keep me engaged sometimes. So I think Kirby steered a lot more toward kids. I remember playing Kirby Superstar. I love that game. And I thought this was a good mix of ease and difficulty. It's not a very hard game by any means, and you can skip a lot of the stuff, or you can kind of cheese your way through it if you wanted to. But yeah, I think this is pretty good. Then the newer games, there's like Kirby's Epic Yarn. Yeah, this looked like it was mostly for kids. I did not play this. I think the aesthetic is great. But yeah, it looked like I would not be too interested in it. And then there was that game where you could inhale trucks and turn into like cars and stuff. What was that one called? Kirby Nintendo Switch. Return to Dreamland and the Forgotten Land? I think it was in the Forgotten Land. Yeah, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Yeah, this looked good. I don't know what this was aimed at. I don't know what the target audience was. Yeah, his YouTube channel is pretty incredible. Okay, so I wrote that I should try this with Ice Blast. Let's see. Let's see how this changes the code, because I do think this will make this a lot clearer. And then we can delete this. The final param is the note. In fact, I should probably also search for this. All right, so we delete this. We put the note directly in here. This note is a little strange. So we do color equals 2. Then put the note. This turns to 3. No, this is 0 and then 3. And then slash color. And then the color goes here. UI constants. And then the 3 is going to be format mental swiftness. Yeah. So now we delete all of that. Okay. Now I want to look at the diff. Just in terms of line number, we got rid of 6 lines. One was a comment, which I think I started omitting in some of them. So really like 5 lines. So yeah, the code does get a lot easier to read. For the translator, it gets easier to tell what's going on there. Because now this is the string they'll see. Grants this would be Ice Blast ability, which blasts a single enemy with ice shards for some amount of damage. Then the color, which they would know not to touch. Wait a second. Yeah, they would know not to touch that. Then we say Ice Blast can trigger mental swiftness. And this should look the same in the game. Yeah. Did wish it was more open world. Did we talk about kind of gaming trends and how technology unlocked people to do certain things? And I feel like we've seen open world versions of many games now. From Pokemon to Sonic to Zelda to what else? I was gonna say you can sort of say Mario and Kirby, but maybe not exactly. I'm not saying there are a lot of other open world games, but I wonder which ones started 20 plus years ago and can now be open world, so they are open world. But yeah, on Super Nintendo, good luck. I think the concept of open world still kind of existed. It was just sort of simplified for the hardware. Did I run this? Did I build this? I don't remember. A Link to the Past is semi-open world already, and I stand by that. Yeah, like that's a pretty good example of that. What am I missing here? The name formatted note does not exist? Oh, right. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, whoops. Okay, not bad. So we removed even another line from this. Oh, so it is 6 lines. Miss the classic Zelda games. Breath of the Wild is fine, but not what I'm looking for. Oh man, I loved Breath of the Wild so much. It's like one of my favorite games of all time. So I got to get to the mage with Ice Blast, which we're just going to cheat our way to. There it is. Grants Ice Blast, which blasts a single enemy with icy shards for 12 damage. Note, Ice Blast can trigger mental swiftness. Why didn't we format that green? Or did I just mess that up now? I guess because it doesn't refer to an innate ability. Yes, I don't think we have any other example of this in the game. Let me take a look really fast. Yeah, no, I think every time we use green, it refers to an innate ability, except for maybe the Witch Doctor. Lethality. So it's always referring to another skill. Rarely do skills refer to themselves. So why does this one? Maybe I should say this can trigger mental swiftness and not Ice Blast. Or I could color it green, or I could just ignore it. I don't know why I'm focusing on this. Focus on freely doing things and experimenting, or curated story and segments. Yeah, I think the other things is that it's sort of like the jump to 3D that happened for a lot of gamers with N64 or with PlayStation, where you had this idea of what it would look like in your head, and then seeing it in 3D was like totally different. Now, that's not to say that Breath of the Wild was the first 3D Zelda. It wasn't by any means, but it was the first one where I felt that sense of immersion that I did not feel in any other Zelda game. And they did the most fantastic job with the first like 3 minutes of that game, because in the opening, you crest out onto this peak and you see the entire world. And at the time, you don't really know it that you'll be able to go out there and do everything unless you saw the marketing material for the game. But yeah, as you start to explore and you're like, oh my God, that's the place I saw from the intro. So yeah, I think this is really great. I think they did a really, really good job of the opening of Super Mario 64 as well, with Lakitu holding the camera and moving it around and everything. But those are just those like impactful moments. And then, so it was that combined with the sound design. I love the sound design for that game. I think it is great. I like the sparseness. I love the way they brought back certain themes. Even the musical intervals they use in some places are sort of references to other Zelda tunes, in my opinion. At least, I don't know if other people think that. Just using a perfect fourth doesn't necessarily mean that, but to me it did. Yeah. Wish the world was more filled out, more secrets, side quests, nooks and crannies. I think Tears of the Kingdom filled it out more, and I don't know if it made the game better exactly. It felt like there was too much to do almost, and that I was just completing a checklist. Okay, so yeah, I definitely like it. Means we gotta go change all of these. All right, let's see if we can just use AI to do this though. I'm gonna close out of all these tabs. We gotta search for this. We only have one note about this. Hold on a second. How many places do we do this? Final parameters are the name and description of the ability. Oh yeah, sure. That's fine. And what else do we have? Yeah. Okay, so this is the only place that we have this note. And that's going to happen because we have formatted notes. So we don't need to search for this specially. So every place we did this in the code base, which is, that's strange. 27. That can't be right. There are 55. Oh, 27 declarations and then 27 uses. And then for some reason, one extra one. What's the one extra one? Oh, there. Because we define it, essentially declare it, then initialize it, then use it. Okay. More potential things that could fail. Yeah, I'm curious. I don't think I've ever used a premium AI request. And I kind of want to try and see if it does a good job at this. Not gonna play Dota in the next 5 minutes, like always. AFT code. I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing? I'm sorry I missed your message. Whoops. I have YouTube chat off to the side and I don't always see it. So I'm 7 minutes late. All right, so I'm gonna reload this and then I want to see how good of a job AI can do with this. We need to give it the example file that I had, which is Ice Blast. And I guess just open up all these string formatted note equals. Can we open all of these at once? Is that possible? Do I have to click all? I guess I can just hold F4. Did that do it? No, you actually pause, so you can't just hold it. But whatever, at least I can just press a key 27 times. There might be a better way to do this. But yeah, there we go. So we opened up all the files. The reason I wanted to do that is because I want to pass these as context to the AI. And then I want to find Ice Blast. Where's that? Okay, so let's start a new chat session. I am gonna Copilot premium request. I want to use one of the ones that costs 1 premium request. Where's that table? Here it is. So yeah, if I were to use Claude, we'd have to use one of these two. What? This one costs 1 now, but will cost 3? Then I guess we should use this one, right? That's good. Bang for your buck. Hey, Brave. Okay, let's try it maybe. Yeah, Claude Opus 4.5. Actually, let's try it first with let's try with the free one and just see what happens. So what do I want to change? Let's try this recycler critical eats. Yeah. So I want to add that as context and that as context. So what do we say here? Change the trying to think how to make this unequivocal. Include the formatted note directly in the translate call in recycler critical eats.cs, just like I did in Ice Blast.cs. Okay, let's just see what that does. Hey, Burger. Opus will burn through your daily quota, though, for sure. I think you're supposed to use it until 70% daily quota. So the quota I have is probably different from what you guys are talking about. I'm on the Copilot plan, so I don't actually have a Claude subscription, and I'm allowed 200 premium requests per month, and this costs 1 request. So I think I can use 200 of these, and the month resets in 3 days for me. I don't want to use 200 of these right now. I want to try it on translation. So let's just see if this did a good job with the free thing, and if it did, then yeah, maybe we're fine. So garbage slime can critically eat items. This, I hate this so much. And it has to be a bug. There has to be a way to fix this, but I can't see what this line used to say unless I open up a different view. And you can't scroll to the side. It doesn't let you scroll. So yeah, unfortunately, I can't tell what this used to say, and that's important because I want to see if it deleted something. I guess we can just open up. We can open up the, no, we can't even do that. We can't open the file alongside this. Can't get line level history. Well, the issue is just, like, you can see there on the right, there's a new line. That's not the end of this line. There's something after it. At least one other new line. And if I expand this, I can see part of it. Well, okay, in this case, I can see the whole thing because it's not that long. But sometimes it's so long that even doing this won't show it to me. But anyway, this will work for now. So yeah, let's see. So note rare items receive only half the extra value / color, ability description. This is great. So even the free model did this correctly. Yeah, this is exactly what I want. How do we accept everything? Keep. Okay, so now let's look at the diff for that file. This should also have removed like 6 lines. I removed 3. Maybe because the note wasn't as long? Why was Ice Blast such a long note? Yeah, I see. So yeah, it was just a longer thing. Usually accept everything and look at the diff and the, yeah, that's probably a good idea. Although if I feel like I'm working around a VS Code bug by doing that. Okay, so now I want to do the same thing with all the other open files I have. Do the same thing with all of the other open files that I have. And I would click that and add in open editors. And then we remove, where's critical leads? These aren't alphabetized. If they're not alphabetized, I can't find it. Okay, there it is. All right, so now we hit send and we see what happens. Yeah, so I still think this is one of the best uses of AI is for these mechanical things that are just boring. They're very easy to validate. It's just annoying to type out. There's no thought that goes into this. I just needed to take format A and turn it into format B. I may not have wanted to give it like 20 files at once. I think you can play a lot of a game and still want it to be different or better in some way. What do you use to transcribe your words on the screen? As in the closed captions on Twitch? That is Whisper, which I think I refer to in here. Let me pull this up. Oh, local vocal. Yeah, that's what I use, which I think uses Whisper. Yep. Plugin runs Whisper. Yeah. Okay, so this has done nothing so far, which worries me a little bit. I would have expected it to do something so far. I might need to stop it soon. It's working. I know, I see that it's working, but yeah, I don't think it should have taken this long. Because I gave it, what, 20-something files? And it did that first file in like less than 10 seconds. Maybe it's going to do everything all at once. I expected it to already show me a change because I think that's how it worked last time. It makes me think I just need to retry this request. How about this? I'll give it another like... I'll give it another 30 seconds. There. Started the stopwatch. Look at all this time it's saving. Well, it's not just time that I'm hoping for. It's also my sanity. I don't want to make these changes. Okay, so here we go. Now it's going through. So I needed to wait 13 seconds, apparently. Good thing I was going to give it up to 30. All right, so we can just look through all these now. Yeah. Should be pretty nice. Oh, cool. But should I wait for this? 15 files. I don't remember how many you gave it. I think it was 27. I already did one, so maybe 26 or 25. Yeah, it's almost done. All right, well, I'll read this anyway, because I think we get an individual keep per thing. I'm going to click later on this. Ah, there's the keep button I was looking for. It was hidden underneath an update dialog. I know you can't see any of this because it's underneath my camera. Okay, so note all spirits benefit from power. Increase a random spirit's power by that. Note all spirits benefit from power. 2 turns into the color. Yep, this looks good. Keep that one. Let's look at the next one. Collect this, more of this for the guild to further train your whatever. Granting +3 health and power. Current bonuses. Note you can find this item. This wasn't even formatted. Oh, it was formatted. It didn't have format in the notes. Okay, cool. This looks good. Wow, I'm very impressed. This is so great. So much better clicking keep than typing all this stuff out. What is this? Oh, it's a note in a note? Hold on a second. Let me make sure I'm understanding that correctly. Formatted note was an overflow note, so it does belong in notes. Yeah, those past ones shouldn't have been. Did I have that here? Yeah, no, it's correct. Okay. So color equals 0. No overflow keys accumulate when your key storage is full and a new armor item is added. Man, this model is so much better than whatever I was using before. They were both free, but this one's better. Why not use the better thing? So now the formatted note is... Okay, so in this case... Oh, formatted note is deleted. But then this was renamed to formatted note. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. That's what I would do. Okay, looks good. Keep. What do we have here? Is ability is automatically unlocked. /n/n. Color 1 equals 2. Level up note. Use wisdom to level. Yeah, this is how this should work too. And now it's just return the message. Also nice. Okay, great. In fact, we could turn this whole thing into just a return if we want. I think I can just modify this, right? And then keep all the changes myself. Oh god, this diff is now hard to understand. All right, let's see. Return. Yeah, because it deleted the middle part now. Yeah, I think that's fine. Keep. All right, what's this one say? So first I need to hit save so it gets spaced correctly. Currently have some number of fish in your pond. 2. Color start a battle by clicking that. Yeah, cool. It doesn't warp the text. So the old model used to sometimes do things where, like this says start a battle by clicking, and it would rephrase this sometimes. This is not doing that. That's why I'm reading all the text again, just to make sure it hasn't done that. But so far it's consistently not done that, which is good. Oh, this is, oh god. Okay, this is a lot. All right, so what did it do? I don't think this one's correct. No, I don't think this one's correct. So extractor I'll need to look at on my own, I think. Extractor.cs. Guys, it looks like it's deleting things from here. We had overflow eggs and egg progress, and I don't see that showing up anywhere else. So yeah, let's undo this one. Town perk choice. Sure, using directive is unnecessary. Although how? No, it should still be necessary. UI constants doesn't exist. It does exist. It comes from game source UI, which it thinks is unnecessary. Maybe there's an error here? Huh. All right, formatted note, color equals this. This is actually just supposed to be dark red. So it's messing up a little bit. Dark red is never parameterized. And then this requires, this should be 0. Let me keep this. This is town perk choice. And then I want to look at town perk choice specifically and see if that was good. So it still thinks this is wrong, huh? Oh, we don't need UI anymore. That's true. Oh, it probably, okay. Maybe it deleted that and I didn't see. I'm not going to go watch the VOD for that. Okay, but that looks good. All right, so how do we go to the next file here? Yeah. All right, allows you to, I guess we can close out of the chat thing over there. Allows you to select which adventurer's loot will start inside a treasure chest. Now we have color equals 0. Note, rare items only receive only half the extra value. Cool, that's fine. All right. Key grinder will produce special keys. I'd like to see this one side by side. Can I do that? Split editor, no. Man, yeah, it's a little bit hard to see this inline. Open changes. Oh, nice. That's what I want. Okay. All right, so key grinder will produce special keys more frequently. It looks good. And then color equals 1. Special keys are all keys other than, so this is now wrong. No, wait, no, this is actually correct. It's just the order of this is a little bit strange. They can change the loot in chests and open chests even faster. So do I want to swap these? I don't think I care. Yeah, I don't think well, I kind of like that they are always incrementing. So this would be 0 and this would be 1. And then these would swap. Oh, it knows how to do that. Good. It's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. Yeah, nice. All right, this looks good. Let's keep it. Allows a treasure spirit to purchase treasure chests on its own. Rare items receive only half the extra value. Ooh, how did that make it there? I must have copy pasted this myself and messed up. Because that doesn't belong. Treasure, what's it called? Treasure room auto purchase? Auto purchase. Oh, yeah, I did mess this up. Let's look at the history of this file. When was it correct? Oh, God, this stupid thing again. All right. Gigantic PR. We got to click this, and we got to find auto purchase. And then we look at this. This is what, incorrect or correct at this point? There's no, it must be farther down. Huh, yeah, this is just wrong. Okay, well, that was my bad. The AI is just doing what it can. All right, now it's a correct note, so let's read this again. Color equals 0. Yeah, okay, that's good. Keep. All right, item sales are worth more, or amounts are rounded up. Note this does not affect the garbage slime. Cool. Allows you to automatically repeat battles. You must enable this in individual battle windows. Yep. Added challenge during the demo. Yep. Nice, 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 nice. Wow. This is great. This is just great. This also works for crops. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right, I'm going to try to read through this a little bit faster, so I'm not going to read it out loud. And yeah, all I'm validating is that it's using the color string correctly. Like it's the proper formatting here. These are the more straightforward ones anyway. It's the extractor I'm going to have to go back and look at again. Variety, 0, non-concept. Yeah. Cool, cool, cool. Let it optimize the code. Make my code faster. Yeah, this looks good. Yep, nice. This just needs to be formatted. Cool. Yeah, we only have 5 more of these, I think. Your spirits have X% of your health. So there's a color and then the percent health of the summoner. Yeah. Oh man, I am just blown away by this stuff. Like, this is the kind of thing you could only dream about a long time ago. And now it's possible. All right, this one feels like it's problematic because it's highlighting this again. I don't know why it's doing that. Because we're using UI constants right here. Yeah, this looks like it's fine. This is improved steady shooting. Let me look at this over here. Improved steady shooting. Is that still yellow? It is. Why? Is UI constants not in the UI folder? It's not? Oh. Okay. I thought it was. So why is it all of a sudden talking about this? What did I change? I must have removed something. Huh. Oh, it added it in and then said it was unused? Is the AI adding that? Maybe it is. Okay, well, let's run .NET format at the end of this. That's easy to find. Hey, Liderpium. What tool do you use to show the keys you're pressing on videos? I think you're talking about the shorts. I think that's something built into VS Code. There's some like screencast. Yeah, toggle screencast mode. I think you just do that. And now this is a test. Yeah. So now you can see what I'm typing there. And there's some way to customize this stuff. I wonder if I should just always have that showing. Screencast. Yeah, show raw keys. Yeah, I'm not going to keep this on. Turn it off. Yeah, probably because of the name. I guess that's what it was adding and I just didn't see it. Okay, so let's keep going through this. So, oh yeah, this is highlighted. Okay, I thought the highlight was coming from it being an error. The highlight is coming from the AI trying to add this. and it's not needed. So I will need to run what I ran earlier anyway. Okay, so what does it say? Effect lasts for that. Color equals 2. This cannot target the spirit caller. Isn't there a get display name? There is. Okay, we can simplify that a little bit further. The AI wouldn't have known to do that. Yeah, this looks good. All right, crush. Chant to miss. Has a reduced effect against elite monsters. That looks good. And that's it. That's our change. Hey, have. Okay, so I think that went faster than if I had done this myself. We have a couple of little things we have to clean up now. .NET format. I want to do this, but I want to do this after I have staged all these changes so I can see which ones it made on top of this. I think it was in the top left corner of your presentation on how to be more efficient. Oh, that might have been, God, what was that program called? Karnak, I think. I was probably on Windows for that. So I think it was this utility. Is there a screenshot here? No, there's no screenshot. Maybe on their website. If it looked like that at the bottom right. Oh no, I had some like modified version of Karnak, I think. Oh God. Yeah, but it was something like Karnak. But yeah, that's what I would have used on Windows. I don't know what I would use on Mac now. I also haven't really wanted it on Mac. Okay, so all this should be is removing some using statements. Yeah. Now, why is that yellow? Insert a thing. Okay, fine. All right, so those are good. So now we can hit the minus button over here. So now what I want to do is go look at extractor. Watched a video earlier about your attention budget and choosing where to give it. Interesting thought. You're getting some of my attention budget. Yeah, yeah. What's kind of interesting to me is I think boredom used to be more common, and now I think it's like harder to be bored in today's day and age. You just always have something you could be doing, or a person you could be talking to, a game, a video, whatever. There's something you can do. And I think that back when people were bored more, assuming that my hypothesis is even true, that your attention budget wouldn't be completely spent. You would just be bored for some time. And I mean, your attention is always somewhere, but still, you weren't like actively choosing to spend it on something else. You'd just be staring at a wall or something. There's so many things wrong with what I'm saying right now. Doesn't Mac have that built in with Spotlight? It might. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I said, I haven't really needed it. Need time to convince myself. Yeah, it's tough. I think, I hear about people who go on meditation retreats every once in a while where they can't have electronics. So maybe you spend like a week without your phone. And a lot of times I think people say, yeah, that was great. I feel relaxed and refreshed. And then they go back to using their phone. And I think part of the reason why is it's almost necessary. Like, it's not quite. If you're making a call, yeah, you're going to need a phone for that. But for the rest of the stuff that we do, a lot of it isn't, you don't really need a smartphone. You can have an alarm on a basic phone. You can have a basic calendar too. And a calendar isn't something where I think a lot of people waste their time anyway. So even if you had a like Google Calendar or something, it'd be fine. But yeah, I think not having apps and probably not having a browser, I think that's the important part. And you might argue not having games, but even like Nokia had Snake. Were people wasting tons of time on that? Maybe. But I think it's other like more addictive games that are the problem. All right, so I wanted to go in and change extractor. It was this stuff. But even here, is there anything really important to change? It's just this note. Oh, this isn't even a translated string. Oh. I don't think we need to touch this file at all then. You dare to call playing Snake a waste of time? How dare I? No need to touch this. All right. Well, that's just it, right? We don't have any other formatted notes. How do I check for that though? I don't know how we'd even check for this. I guess I'd have to search. Oh, wait, do I have? First, okay, how about this? Let's just search for I18N and there, full stop. Just look at that. And now anywhere that we have a using in here, yeah, delete all those lines. So now all these files can go away. Anything that's not C# can go away. So all of that stuff. This should no longer be necessary. This is stalagmite. Stalagmite never even got modified. I must not have passed it in. Or the AI just gave up. Did I pass it in? Does it say anything about it? No, it doesn't. Does it show up here? No, I just didn't pass it in. Okay, fine. So, oh, it says the response hit the length limit. Please rephrase your prompt. We do the same thing for stalagmite.cs. It might have missed a couple files then. But either way, I expect this will be pretty fast. Hey, Mad Sage. Yeah. I know what you mean, Hef. Glean nomenclature and information from tech Twitter allowed me to step down the right path on certain problems. Yeah, just start streaming. It'll replace all of tech Twitter for you. By the time I was the most bored, had to be honest, it felt miserable. There were times I thought about doing something dumb to get my military training instructor to scream at me because it'd be more entertaining that way. There's, oop, I got to remember that doesn't work the way I think it does. There's a book called Bored and Brilliant, and the gist of it is, if you're bored, you'll be more creative. And I like that idea, but I think, yeah, the creativity can sometimes be almost impish creativity. Like this whole get someone to yell at me or just cause drama or chaos. I think this is also why pets act out sometimes. Like they just need stimulation. So like, I'll get the human to pay attention to me using the only way I know how. Chaos. All right, so grants this ability, forms a spike of earth. This shouldn't be here now. This should say note. This can trigger this other thing. So I think this is just wrong. I'm going to undo this. Well, I'm not going to undo it. I guess I'll just fix it. Okay. 0 can trigger 2. This should have been formatted as well. Yeah, so it kind of messed up everything here. Good. All right, so what do we have? Display name, which forms a spike of earth for damage. Then a color. Then mental swiftness, yeah. All right, so we keep that. I should probably go look at that in the game really fast. All right, stalagmite grants the let me take a picture so everyone can read this if you want to. Grants stalagmite ability, which forms a spike of earth underneath a single enemy for 220 damage. Stalagmite can trigger mental swiftness. So this looks great. This still feels weird to me. We say this, it grants an ability and we don't color it in a different color. I guess we never do that. Huh. Is there anything else that grants an ability? Quick shot does. It just describes what quick shot does. The mage has 2. Those tell you that it grants you an ability though. Does anyone else grant an ability? I don't think so. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, well. I guess these technically do. They just don't say that they do. Okay, well, yeah, I think that's fine. All right, so did it get all of them? If we search for string formatted note. No, there are 4 it didn't get to. Well, I'll change these on my own to see how annoying it would have been to do this on my own. I'm already annoyed and I haven't even started. Okay, in this particular case, we have a conditional formatted note. So this one might actually be fine. Yeah, this is fine. I'm going to get rid of that. Now what about this one? requires the whatever. Oh, this one's also fine. Okay. What changed here? Town perk choice. Oh. Oh, I actually like what this used to be. Because the whole point of this is this note, a note that shows under something else that we don't have in this code. So by getting the color out of the text, I think this is actually better. Yeah, okay. What else? We only have 2 more, right? Extractor I already looked at. That one's fine, I think. Why did I say this is fine? Because it all goes here? Yeah. Yeah. All right, then what's this last one? This is key grinder. What is this? And what used to happen for this? No, I don't think I want to keep this one either. Yeah. What's causing me to make this decision is whether or not translators should have to see the formatting. And since this is already a line on its own, I don't think they should have to see it. So I think that's everything. So let's try running this and let's go through a couple of them and just see if everything looks good. Actually, some of these should be easier than others, like Empower Spirit. Yeah, I can just read that and see. Okay, Empower Spirit. Which one are you? This, no, not that one. This one. Increases a random spirit's power by 25% for 4 seconds. All spirits benefit from power. Cool. Looks good. Ice Blast we already looked at. Stalagmite we looked at. Crush Disorient. When Crush hits, the affected enemy has a chance to miss attacks. This has a reduced effect against elite monsters. Yep. Dog Spirit. Raise the power of a single ally. Okay, let's just hover over all of these really fast. That'll find if there are any formatting problems. I don't think there would be. And I'm only going to do this on another couple. There. Okay. Any errors? Yeah, so if I had the wrong number of parameters, that would have caused an error. We could look through some of these other ones. I don't really think there's much of a reason to. At some point, I want to just play the game again from the beginning and see if we messed anything up. Yeah, so change note formatting across the game. I originally wanted to avoid having BB code formatting show up in the translation files, but I think it would have made things harder for translators. There are many formatted notes that show alongside some other string, and it would have been hard to know. Yeah, that context. Can't the red cross button on top of the scroll be without a border? What are you talking about? Oh, this? I think it makes it stand out a little bit more. I like this. Yeah. All right, so I'm not sure this is worth reviewing because I already went through and reviewed what the AI did, and then I checked like half of them. Yeah. What I am kind of curious about though is what is the average number of lines we deleted? Like here it was 0. Here it was 7. Here it is 7. Here we actually added lines. Oh, how? Because of the nesting of translate? Oh, okay. I mean, we could just check the stats. Get diff short stat. Yeah, more deletions than insertions. Okay. Commit. Cool. Make sure we've gone through all the dialogues, greetings, etc. All instance data needs this stuff. Quest data. All right, I think, what time is it? Yeah, I'll take another break and then I think we work for another hour on this. hopefully we'll have done most of what we need to do. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Congratulations, you did it. You came in first place. Close the game. Okay. So, where do we leave off here? All instance data needs translate calls and probably functions manifested instead of strings. Let's go do that. All instance data. So display names here. And then flavor text. Yeah, display name and then the two flavor text. Oh, and then monster name? Why is that different? Oh, because of the boss. Okay, so what do we have? Display name, monster name, and then these two flavor texts. The problem is I finally have to confront the duplication here. I mean, I don't technically have to. We could do this the easy way, where we just manifest all these in a file and then reuse the ones that show up here. Is there anything else in this thing? Yeah, I think we just do it the easy way for now. I don't want to think about this stuff. So we'll take instance data strings, or maybe just instance strings. Yeah, instance strings. Okay, that's pretty good. It'd be nice if you could add a further screen for those that are left behind so they can still catch up. That's the whole point, is that they only have like a minute to get out of the gate. So if you get left behind, you basically lose. This particular scenario about people not joining is one that I don't think if you could join late that it would actually convince people to join. It's just sometimes we have 0 players, sometimes we have 1 or 2. By the way, the times when you have 0 players for like the entirety of the 3 minutes I'm gone, people don't, they're not like, oh, at 2.5 minutes I'll join. I mean, then it wouldn't be a 0 player game, but yeah. All right, so instance strings, we're gonna delete this and all of that and then go use them. Cool. So this needs to be a function. And I don't think we have this pattern somewhere else, do we? Building strings. Maybe we do. This. Does this work? No, they're just strings. Oh, man. Actually, I guess it doesn't really matter whether it's a function or not. Let me think about this. Oh, also, none of these have context. I guess I have context by being in this file. Yeah. All right, so forest name is forest. So if I were to just put this in here, then that's maybe we should just start this way. Yeah, might as well. Okay, let's get the other ones. So we're going to do this, make them unique. And then go make all of these into the proper strings. So public static string that name equals translate like that. Then delete the quotes and delete the spaces. Okay, then change all the commas into semicolons. All right, there we go. Now we just have forest there twice. Delete that one. And then separate them all with a blank line. Sure. Okay, now we just use them. This is, whoops. This turns into instance name.canyon or instance strings.canyon. Yeah. Cool. Nice, you can just point at this and then AI will suggest the thing that I just did. Where I think this is pretty nice. Although I also could have just used multiple cursors to do this. I'm actually debating if that would have been better at this point. All right, so now all those display names are going to get repeated. This is what's going to be a little interesting to do. So we select all the display names down to the fishing pond, copy them, and then do the same thing down here. This is to stop me from having to figure out a better way of manifesting this code. Then we go to the fishing pond and do that. Nice. Okay, so all the display names are now done. Now we need monster names. Let's go get those. Remember a few streams back, you and someone were talking about verifying someone who's truly who they say they are. I had that moment a few minutes ago. Got a random friend request on Facebook from someone I knew. Messaged the person. They said, yes, their second account. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's pretty nice. I actually, weirdly enough, okay. I told my wife this and she's like, don't get worked up over this. But so this morning, I get an email from an accountant and it's a DocuSign email. And the thing is, this is not my accountant. So probably like 20 months ago, we reached out to this person and their site sucked. It didn't let us sign up. So we didn't hire this person as our accountant. And I even told them, I'm like, hey, your site's kind of like sluggish and I just don't want to deal with this. And they're like, okay, that's too bad, but yeah, maybe we figure this out some other time. Well, now 20 months later, out of the blue, this person who's not my accountant reaches out and says like, hey, here's a document you can sign. And I look, there's a button and it says DocuSign on it or something like that. And I hover over it and it goes to share.evernote.com / and then some like UUID there. I'm like, okay, maybe DocuSign and Evernote are somehow related. Like I looked this up. I don't think they're related at all. I don't think DocuSign would link to something that's not DocuSign.com. So I send them an email back and I'm like, hey, this is really weird. Like, can you confirm you actually meant to send this to me? Actually, sorry, I got the order of things wrong, but it doesn't matter. And for the sake of the story, I'm just going to go forward. And they sent back a response like, yeah, this is meant for you. Check out the proposal. So I was like, okay, this is messed up. I'm going to call this person. So I called them. I got their voicemail. So I left them a voicemail saying what went wrong. And I don't know, maybe they've listened, maybe they haven't. Maybe their email was hacked. But it kind of makes me think now, their site sucked and that's why we didn't sign up for them. I wonder if it's an indication that they just don't sort of understand cybersecurity and kind of how to make a good website or whatever else. And that now it led to them getting hacked somehow. There's the incredibly slim chance that this is legit. And for whatever reason, an accountant we haven't hired reached out 20 months later to be like, here's a proposal for how I can become your accountant or something. In which case, yeah, sure, whatever. I'd read it. But I don't think it's them. So I'm not going to click that button. All right, so these are instance names. I guess let's put all these in here. Instance names or location names. Hey, JD. Hey, Mike. Wait, so what was on the link? Could we open it in a VM or something? I'm curious. I don't know. I haven't clicked it. I also don't know enough about Evernote nowadays to know what could be on that link that would be bad. So my guess, I'm filling in a lot of blanks here. My guess is that you can host essentially static sites on share.evernote.com. So it probably looks like DocuSign, but I don't know what they'd ask you for that would actually help them. Maybe email credentials? Or there's like I don't know. I don't know what the attack would be after that. All I know is that it probably looks like DocuSign at that point. Proposal for how you can change their site and an estimate for payment. I don't think that the person even knows that I can do web development, but it would be pretty funny. Hey, Kojan. Yeah. Okay, so monster name, public static string. I guess we just plug all these in. Let's do that first. So this name equals translate elite names. There we go. Okay, now delete the quotes. Delete these quotes. Delete the spaces. All right, that looks pretty good. Oh, and then put in the new lines again. I forgot about that. All right, so now we get all these strings and take them and put them over here. So we go from ogre down to giant snake. So there's ogre. And now we want to go down to giant snake. Perfect. Now we just replace this with instance strings dot that. Perfect. And I do the exact same thing down here because I've duplicated a bunch of data and should not have done that. But we're not fixing that now. Great. Okay, so all the monsters should be done. All the location names should be done. Now we have the battle map flavor text and then the banner flavor text. So this one, can we select them all and then do that and then do that and then that? And then unique and have them back. How's that look? Yeah, pretty good. All right, let's go plug that in. No, not really. Like if it is Evernote, it's just a note-taking app like OneNote, you could say. But there are a lot of ifs and you don't know. Yeah, the thing that made me wonder about that is like I guess you can do this in pretty much any note-taking software. You can at least have a picture in the note. I don't think an attacker would take this route, but you could then take a picture of DocuSign and then doctor it and then put that in your note. You could also just make it look like a contract or something maybe. But again, I don't know what the attack would be. And I don't want to even click the link to find out. I'm seeing more and more the effects of poor cybersecurity in people or contacts that I have. This is the third time in, I want to say 2 or maybe 3 months. So the first was uh, like an online acquaintance was hacked and sent a Discord message asking me to download their game. The second was, how do I describe this? Leaking personal information. I'll just say like some community thing sent an email with a username and password in plain text. Well, it actually wasn't the email, I guess, but it sent a site with a username and password in plain text. And then the third is this thing, the accountant who sent the DocuSign link. So this all happened pretty closely to one another. And I don't think there's any correlation between these events. I think it's just enough people are trying to get everyone else's data or accounts that it's going to happen sometimes, and it's going to be people you know sometimes, and then those people will reach out to you sometimes. Maybe make you think you're signing one thing, but actually sign something else. The thing is, though, is a contract enforceable if you're not even like aware of the person you signed it with? Like, let's say you and I want to do business, and I'm like, okay, here's a contract, but it's actually not me. I think you could argue that like you didn't knowingly sign the contract with the right person, but I don't know. I just imagine that wouldn't hold up though. Like, oh yeah, you hacked someone's email and tricked them into thinking they were you. Yeah, that's probably not enforceable. So I imagine it has to come down to credentials or access somehow at the end of this, or money. Although I don't know how DocuSign would lead to money. Oh, maybe it'd be like pay a $50 fee in order to get this signed. Maybe that would work. It's not legitimate, but it could trick someone, or like you need a DocuSign premium account or something to, I don't know. I watch a lot of the Kipoga scams, and I just feel like there's some route to money everywhere. And if there isn't one, you'll just be like, well, now you got to pay us to do this. And yeah, you're paying for something there. So for this, I want to say it is flavor text. And then we translate this. And we'll call it elite flavor text. Yeah. So now we'll just manually type in the names here. This is ogre, dragon, enchantress, ugly slime. Have I been pluralizing Phoenix? Phoenix's name. Yeah, I have. Okay, let's pluralize it here too. Yeti. There, cool. All right, so now what am I missing? Semicolons. And new lines. All right, now we go plug in the flavor text. I dislike the term hack 99% of the time. It's their credentials were compromised. They reuse passwords or another method. Yeah, I think I say hacking just for shorthand because I'm streaming. If this were like a blog post I were writing, yeah, I'd probably say compromise or something. Because I think a lot of phishing is not hacking. And yet phishing or any sort of social engineering is really the most common thing for any like high profile crimes, it seems. It's rarer that it's like a 0-day attack and that they use a bunch of exploit. It's usually like, well, we just probed enough low tier people at the company and eventually got access to some system we weren't supposed to get. And I hear that story quite a lot. Now, granted, you do hear about real hacking too, which just seems like it's more common than, yeah, we just trusted someone we shouldn't have trusted. Okay, ogre. So I want this instance strings. I want this for all of them. This is probably an easy way to do this. Maybe I just hover over this, it'll tell me. No. I just wanted to type, oh, it did. Wait, did it? No, it didn't. Wait, it looked like it tried to. Maybe if I do that. Come on. Come on. I just want to type this. Fine. I'll type drag Ron. Drag Ron through the mud on this. Wait, whoa. Something's messing up here. Oh, you know what? I think it had every single thing selected. Did it? Yeah, it did. Ugh. Okay, well, let's reload this and see if this even works. Are you required to have an accountant? No, I don't think so. Somehow my personal phone number got leaked, I guess by Stepstone. I haven't heard of this. They published my CV on the internet without me knowing. And since then, every 1 or 2 months, I get a call. So one was a headhunter. He told me it was in an AI database somehow. Since then, I took some personal safety guards. Okay, so I'm guessing you don't live in the US. Here in the US, I get spam calls constantly to the point where I basically just don't even answer my phone anymore. And I think Google's call screening has probably helped because it seems like some of them just hang up now when they get to the call screening part. I don't know how many are actual humans calling because, like I said, I never answer. So they're probably mostly robots calling other robots at this point. But I don't think I did anything to like compromise my phone number. I think it's just everyone in the US gets spam calls. That's my assumption for that. So it might be different in your country. Don't have an approved whitelist of people who can contact them via company channels like email and such. I think it would just freeze a lot of things to a halt. Like imagine if you are some kind of admin somewhere. Sorry, let me make that clear. Like an office admin. So you're not really supposed to have passwords or anything, but you're supposed to let people in. You know, there's a delivery or there's a painter or there's a furniture thing that needs to be done. So you get contacted by so many different companies and people that when someone comes in and they're like, hey, the CEO asked for this, it's urgent, that you're like, oh, maybe they did. Maybe it's not on my radar. And then you trust them a little bit more. And then from there, now maybe you got the office admin. So now you contact the next hop in that chain and they're like, well, yeah, I know the office admin. That's Bob. He works down on floor 2. And you trust them. So now they got another hop deeper into the system. And yeah, I think that's how some of this stuff can progress. Heat Hunter does sound like a cool sci-fi thing. We need to find the volcano. Need an expert heat hunter for that. All right. Given all the syntax errors, this makes me think that I still had multiple cursors set on something else that I shouldn't have had. This is going to be the dragon flavor text. Put the comma in. Hey, nice. It's finally fixing it for me. Yay. All right, I just have to do this another like million times. Didn't fill that one in. Yeah, weird. It only fills it in if I like scroll down to it. Yeah, weird. Why does that happen? No, it's not even fixing it now. Huh. Strange. Maybe I need to do like 3 of these or something. It clearly knows what I want to change. It's just not suggesting it. All right, well, let's just paste them all out then. Phoenixes, Yeti, killer fly trap, and finally the big snake. Oh, it's not called big snake. What is it called? Giant snake? Really? I guess it sounds better than big snake. Okay, fine. Yeah, it's giant snake. I just didn't realize. Oh, all these equal translates should actually have been equal like that. All right, now we just have one more. Hey, Sinistella. December indeed. Oh, I missed a bunch of chat messages. That's our feedback 100% of the time to customers who want to be more secure, have zero trust in your environment, and make sure your credentials aren't reused. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's hard for the average person to even recognize these things. I've told this story, I think, once on stream before, but I once got an email from my uncle saying, sorry, hang on, let me say this. So my uncle had like old email address and then they had a new email address, and they sent an email from this saying, hey, it's me, your uncle. It wasn't exactly this, but I'm like, hello, you should send that from your old email address saying, hey, my new email address is new email address. And that way I know that it's you. And now you don't even know that it's them because they might have gotten their old email hacked. But, and he just couldn't comprehend, like, why would I do that? It's me. Like, I'm sending this from my new email address. And I tried using examples. I'm like, okay, imagine that you get called on the phone and someone's claiming to be somebody else and you can't really tell from their voice, or they've masked their voice or something. Like, how do you know that it's them? Would you just send them money or something? It went nowhere. It went nowhere. They never sent a follow-up email saying, hey, just so you know, that new email address is actually me. It just, yeah. Goodbye to your inheritance. Do people inherit things through their uncles? I guess maybe if they don't have kids. This particular uncle has a kid. Oh, man. I'm not telling you where I live. Yeah. That's, yeah. Sorry, I wasn't trying to extract personal information from you. Just that it doesn't sound like it's the U.S. Although I can assume based on the usage of CV, but who knows? And Norway, biggest cell operator, blocked around 54 million calls. Yeah. Yeah. So just to be clear here, I guess what I was trying to say is, I don't think it's a misstep to sign up for a company. What they then do with your data could be something that you don't approve of, but it's like, you gotta exist in your country, so you need like a phone plan and an internet plan and whatever else to do just normal day-to-day things. So now you share your phone plan needs to have your phone number, but you share your phone number with your internet company and they're like, oh, well, we'll share this with our partners or something. And now all of a sudden you're on some mega spam list. So it's like, you didn't get compromised. You just did a normal everyday person thing, and then they compromised you. Yeah. Cover some great experiences you have with doing that kind of thing. Yeah, man. It's interesting because, like, everyone places their trust in something, and some are really, really basic. And as a really, I know it sounds contrived, but as an example of how basic this is, you step on a floor every day and you trust that it's not just going to like break out from underneath you. Like, that's you placing your trust in an object. The object has no malicious intent. It can't have malicious intent, but floorboards have broken before. People have gotten hurt. You're still placing your trust in that. When you touch the door, you trust that it's not hot or electrified or something. Now imagine you do that, but for literally every single decision in your entire life. Like, oh, hey, that person that I'm talking to, are they still that person I'm talking to? Like, has this person's phone fallen in the wrong hands? Is something fishy here? And you can only be on high alert for so many things so frequently before you just sort of burn out on that. I think I'm now more aware of this and check any app mail or service. Yeah, I try to do that stuff too. You know what bugs me a lot is mail spam, like physical mail spam. And part of the reason it bugs me is because it's physical. Like, some company is printing a color sheet of paper with an advertisement on it that I'm never going to read, look at, or care about. And they're doing this times a million. And there's probably some way to stop this. But it's not just like, go to this site and click this button. If it were this, I would do this. But I think you need to like email somebody or be like, hey, remove me from this list. And then maybe they do, maybe they don't. How would I even know? Because I need to keep track of all the ones I tried removing myself from. But yeah, I get almost entirely mail spam. Like, I get very little actual mail. And I just don't want it filling our mailbox. And I don't want them wasting the resources. And there's got to be, I want there to be some like easy way to get rid of that stuff. How do we know Adam is still Adam? Might be AI. I hate the list. That's exactly when the loop happens. The 476 day and 3 minute mark. Slap a no advertising sticker on your mailbox. I don't think the mail person knows what your mail is, so they'd have to be the one to reject that. Maybe they can know what it is, but yeah, I don't think that's a thing, at least. Hey, Chris. So many clearinghouses that you can buy lists from. I can't think of the name of it, but I've heard of companies that can remove you from lists. Really? But do they charge for that? Like, it should be free for me to tell a company, stop sending me stuff. I don't care. I'm not going to buy from you. And it's still in their interest to ignore that because there's still a chance you buy from them or that you talk to another friend about it or something and then they buy from it. So, yeah, I feel like incentives are all wrong there. All right, so if I do this, nice, these are all good. Let's plug them into here. Yeah, there's a fee. Yeah, it's a shame, right? Like, it's not that big a cost to me to just open this mail, realize it's junk, and then get rid of it. Nope, that's not good. Okay, so what are you calling these? Elite, defeat elite banner text. There we go. Now we just gotta make this match. We really have that many bosses? What? This doesn't seem right. No, this isn't right. I doubled them. Okay, so now we just gotta rename these. This is Ogre, Dragon, Enchantress. Come on, you can do it, AI. I'm gonna get the last one. This is the giant snake. Yeah. We need AI mailboxes to keep track of common main spam and shreds the paper. We definitely need this technology that I would trust to not shred my insurance check I got for my glasses. Detecting multiple hundreds of dollars. Shredding. Oh man. I don't know why that cracks me up so much, but it's hilarious. Okay, what are we doing here? All right, I got to do this for all these, right? Yeah. Oh, nice. Actually, oh, good. What happened now? There we go. You gonna correct this one? Good. Oh, I pressed F5. Hey, Bedra. Almost done. And giant snake. Nice. All right, so now we just copy paste all those into my second layer. Banner flavor text. Got it. Now we go down to this. Done. All right, so the whole file is now translated, except for this is debug. Now, everything's translated. Let's go take a look and make sure it's good. Hey, Soli. You can sign up with a post office and not receive junk mail, but you have to pay the post office. I wouldn't mind paying the post office for that. But the problem still exists that some company is spending their resources doing this thing. Like, how many sheets of paper are just ending up in a landfill somewhere with how much printer ink? And what's crazy about this kind of scale is you got to think about it in terms of like gallons of printer ink. Yeah, sure, on each individual paper, it's not very much, but it's got to be a lot. It's just wasted. All right, so how do I do this? Because we only see the banner when we win. So I got to go through all of these? Okay. Doing OC? No, no. I haven't ever done it. I'd like to someday. Okay, so we got to look at the descriptions for all of these. The ogre dwells here. He doesn't have any special abilities. He's just really strong. Defeat the ogre to be able to do repeatable canyon or battles of the canyon. So what needs to show up for this? It says the ogre dwells here. And then the location name itself. That we can just look at ahead of time. Forest, canyon, deep forest, volcano, crypt, waterways, mines, mountains, jungle, inferno. Okay, all those are correct. So now the only other thing that happens is when you win, and we need to... Wait, what? Where does monster name show up? Oh, in that in the string right beneath it, it said defeat the ogre to be able to. Okay, well I think that was correct. I'll look at it more closely on the next ones. Oh, let's speed this up too. That way we don't have to wait as long. And okay, so this should say, yeah, dragon dwells here. Defeat the dragon to be able to do repeatable battles. Then we go beat the dragon. We should see the right flavor text. Cool. Okay, we keep working our way through this stuff. The enchantress dwells here. Good. Fight the enchantress. We win. Good. Yeah, whoops. Oh, that was actually correct. The ugly slime dwells here. Good. We should add this text. Okay, great. Yeah, I'm just validating these strings are right. Yeah, that's fine. So stupid. Strings themselves are funny. Yeti dwells here. Yep, good. And we have what, 2 more of these? Okay. Final elite monster. And we beat this, and it should say you've avenged your own death. Nice. Oh, that's a lot of antidotes. Okay, cool. So that was step 1. Step 2 is getting them to be functions now. But I'll check in step 1 on its own. Also, what time is it? 11:35. And I've been eating lunch earlier and earlier when I'm not streaming. This cat still has not adapted to daylight saving time. Translate all instance strings. I still haven't addressed the blatant duplication in all instance data.cs. With a wave system, you can make a Hydra boss. We have the Phoenix boss, which is kind of similar. If I get this and this and this and that, then we can fight the Phoenix boss again. And I'll show you how that works. Well, I guess I should also do that and then put 4 enemies in here. Or 4 adventurers. Okay, so it's going to be sped up a little bit. But yeah, the way this works is if you kill any of the phoenixes, it will revive 5 seconds later with a little bit less max health. So we have to wait. All right, well, we don't have to wait very long. I should have just put the rogue in the battle. Come on, kill the one on top. There we go. Okay, so that's dead. So now after 5 seconds, it revives itself. And they all need to be dead within the same 5-second window for you to actually win this fight. So it's kind of thematically kind of similar to a Hydra fight in terms of the mechanics. Hey, what? Welcome back. This day about once a quarter where they bring out a shredder truck. I take them a box or 2 a couple times a year. Wow. That's a lot of spam. So you are guaranteed to eventually win this fight, assuming you don't die. It's not like you can get into a state where the Phoenix just keep cycling like A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, because their max life keeps lowering. So even if it would have gone into that cycle, eventually they'll have such low max life that I think they just stop reviving. But in order for us to see that here, it might take a very, very long time. I don't know. Let's see. It's at 8x speed, so I'm guessing it'll take another minute. I'm kind of just curious at this point. Almost. Almost. Okay. I don't think it's impossible to win. They should be lowering their life over and over. I can't tell if that's happening though. I'm trying to look at the Phoenix on the right. It looks like it's... Huh, maybe it is impossible. Yeah, because it doesn't look like they're going below 30% or something. I should probably make them go all the way down to 10%. Hey, Journey. Oh, and 3D extended. Sorry, I misread the. Thanks for resubbing 3D extended. I'll just give Journey the credit for that. Hope you're doing well. Have you implemented a priority system for the potions apart from on and off button in the garden? No, nor do I plan on doing that. So you just wait to win? Well, in this case, you would have been dead a long time ago. If I turn invincibility off, all my adventurers are killed instantaneously. So like battles should never last that long. I do wonder if it's worth changing the Phoenix buff so that when they die, yeah, see, I have a minimum life percent of 25%. There's no real reason to do that. In fact, we should probably set it to 5%. Actually, I don't really care. Yeah, what does it matter? If someone can't beat the Phoenix after whatever that works out to be, it's 15% per death. So that'd be 5 deaths. So if in 5 cycles you haven't won, you've probably lost. But if you still don't win, then just go get stronger and then win. Yeah. Okay. So next up, we go make functions out of these things. So we have 2 places where that is needed. This turns into a function, get display name. And we want that for this, and this. Okay, so now that's going to cause a million errors. We're going to go try to fix them all. That's good except for the last one. So I guess we need to select it with the colon. Done. Okay, so 1/4 of them have been fixed. Now we need monster name. Good. So we're halfway done. Oh, wait. Oh, all these are going to be simple because they all point to a single line. Oh, yeah. Okay, fine. So we could just do that and that. And that's it. So every single thing in this file should be fixed. There's one error down here. This is now get display name. And then there are going to be errors outside of this file. There should be at least like 8, I think. There might be more, but I wouldn't expect more than about 8. 12. Okay, that's not bad. I was multiplying 4 by 2. I should have multiplied 4 by 3. I thought, how many places can this really show up? All right, so this is monster name. And this is display name. Then there is battle map flavor text. Okay, those 3 are done. We only get this for the sake of the name. Yeah, I'm just going to leave this as is. I don't think this bird works this way. I guess they live alone and die alone. What are you talking about? Phoenixes? Do you have a friend with a phoenix? Is your friend Dumbledore? Can I get in touch with your friend? I actually would be terrified to own a phoenix. Can you imagine a fiery bird with like razor sharp talons that can't die? Not that you want to kill your pets, but I mean, if it were attacking you, there's nothing you can do to stop it. All right, so I'm just gonna press F5 and get the new errors. Maybe they're actually hatchlings who haven't left home yet. But aren't you the bad guy in that case? I'd like to think they're terrorizing the mines. And that you weren't on its territory. It came in. Phoenixes are evil in this lore. Can you put them in a bottle like a Zelda fairy? So with a phoenix, they can come back to life, right? The fairies, I think they can die? No, is it? I don't think this is a Zelda game where they can die. But they're like one-time use items. Although I guess even in what is it? Final Fantasy VII had Phoenix Downs. Those were one-time use items. But it's not, it was just the down of a phoenix. I guess that makes sense. I guess some nerds will talk about this. About the lore thing, it usually doesn't matter. Yeah. Also, I mean, the thing I always go back to is how many video games have you played where you have multiple lives? Like that on its own is pretty much never explained. And that goes back as far as probably older than Mario, but yeah, Mario had lives. Why? Did he unlock some plumbing secret? Like the lore doesn't really need to talk about those things. And I think what it all comes down to is suspension of disbelief. You're playing a video game, you've got multiple lives. It's like that doesn't take you out of the game or something. It's just like how if you're using magic in a game, you're like, okay, yeah, I get that this is a fantasy world. All right, so every single one of these things has been changed. Place all instance data strings with functions. This is so that you can change languages on the fly. I'm not saying there are no games that explain the dying thing. I'm saying there are many games that don't explain the dying thing. You can't even disagree with this. It's like there are a ton of games out there you can point to that they just don't mention why you have multiple lives. That is not to say that there is no, like, what is it? I don't remember the math term for it, but anyway, yeah, there are a lot of games that explain why you die. Yeah. Okay, so these are all done. Quest data. It's a me. Mario's one of many clones, obviously. And that's how they identify them. Never thought about that. All right, so backstory. We have a bunch of names here. Is it worth... I guess we have to translate some of these names, right? Because you might use a different script to render them, which means you probably shouldn't have just 50 random ones. I don't know. Nice cup. Thank you. What if there's an entire Mario population, similarly to how there's hundreds of Toads? They're all similar but not the same. Italian plumber. I think we need to investigate this. I think we need Miyamoto on this. So in this case, the backstories only show up once, so we can just put this in here. All right, translate name of new worker. This should all be the simplest thing. So we can say this, comma, worker names. The backstories are going to be harder to translate because they're supposed to be a little bit funny. And sometimes the humor might not translate, maybe. Translate that. Quest backstory. Okay, now delete any $signs we have. Wait, why was that even there? Oh, I don't know. And then we need this one too. String.format translate. Died. If you help them, they'll join your workforce. Okay, so we put quest backstory. Nice. Okay, so everything's been translated except for these. Was it worker names? Yeah, worker names. All right, and I don't really need there to be 50 of these. There's got to be... I also don't not need there to be 50 of these. Oh, Miyamoto's trying to keep this under wraps. I see. All right, and we'll just change that. Other possible backstories. Okay, so we're done with that. Now we go look at this and we change this to function string get backstory and function string get name of new worker. What's going on? There. All right, so backstory translate turns into this. Name of new worker translate turns into this. Okay. Now that's going to break a couple of things like so. This is maybe less important to turn these into functions. Let's press F5. Man. Okay. So this is probably looking good. What time is it? I wanted to share something I've been getting into, and I almost wanted to start this by saying I've been getting into flat earth lately. But actually what I've been getting into is flat earth debates. And there's something that I find kind of shocking about this. And the shocking thing to me is there are smart people who, I guess, like have some set of reasons for believing anything. And in this case, the debates I'm looking into are about flat earth. I'm not going into other conspiracy theories or anything. And the reason I find this part shocking is okay, I guess I need to tell a little bit of a story here. About a year ago, maybe, some wealthy person said, hey, flat earth believers, we will fly you out to Antarctica where you can witness a 24-hour sun for yourself. And I think they flew out, 4 people, and one of them did change their mind. That was it. They were just like, oh my God, like this, yeah, how do I explain this in the model that I have? And I went and looked into this person, and I think they were into flat earth stuff for like 10 years. And it took them that to finally change. And now that they've changed, like, nicely enough, the entire internet seemed to have been like, well, good for them. That must have been hard. It must have taken a lot of bravery. They weren't just like ragging on this dude. But man, 10 years to convince one person, and like flying them out. I don't know how expensive that was, but it's not a cheap flight. And it just made me think, okay, now what if you try doing that with a second person? How do you reach them? How do you get to them? And I recognize this whole set of reasons thing is more than just about the belief or there's a community, you start staking your pride on this thing, maybe part of your identity. But yeah, it's just crazy to me. And it's because it's linked to some other aspects that I've seen in society lately, where we live in echo chambers more and more. And even convincing a friend or family member of things can be difficult. But how you consume facts and how you trust them has also changed over the years. And I don't like any of these properties. Hang on one second. Excuse me. Yeah, I think all of these can do bad things. And I spent a decent chunk of this weekend watching these debates, and they're maddening for a bunch of reasons. Yeah, I think debates themselves are kind of maddening though, because a lot of times it's like you expect, oh, when I confront someone with this evidence, they might change their minds on a topic. And it doesn't even have to be factual. It could be something subjective. Like imagine if I said something like, oatmeal tastes great, debate me. Like this is a low stakes opinion based conversation. Now, granted, it's literal taste, so it probably won't convince people. It's not like logic got them to their taste, but still, when has a debate ever ended in someone being like, you know what, that's food for thought. I should really go, I should analyze my perspective and see if that changes my stance on anything. How are we defining smart? The way I look at this is these people are capable of learning. So at least one of the people I was watching, he understands enough science, and he clearly has no problem with recall, with communication, formulating his thoughts. And he understands enough about the connection of things that to me, it was like, you can never tell with anyone, is their intent to be blinded by something? Well, put this in quotes, because in this case, like, is it a grift? Or are they truly curious and they just have the wrong sources? Or are they incapable of understanding? You'll never know for a lot of people which category they fall into. And sometimes you find out after the fact, like, oh yeah, they were making millions of dollars off of something, so it was in their best interest to just stay blind to this stuff. Does not bode well for my sanity today. Internet decided to protect my sanity and to cut out half of this explanation. Well, there will be the VOD. I don't think you can be rational, smart, and believe things like that. I don't know. I with something like this, it's a big belief about something that's factual. But think of how many maybe small things that you aren't even aware you're sort of blinded about. And as an example here, imagine if I asked everyone, like, what's a common misconception? I bet there are a bunch of people in chat who have a misconception about something, who would consider themselves smart people. And that doesn't make you bad or anything. I think what would make you unreasonable is if you hear something that contradicts what you believe, maybe you look into it and you're still like, you know what? I don't care. I'm not going to reconcile this. You either find out that you were wrong or that the piece of information was wrong. And some things don't matter enough to look into, but still, I think anyone can fall into these traps. And I guess look at it. We were talking about social engineering earlier. You might say something like a smart person can't be socially engineered or something like that. But it's like we all have blind spots. You were Fressel. Oatmeal. Excuse me. There's logically smart and socially smart. I find oftentimes the two don't go together as much as people think they do. Well, I guess what I just mean here is, like I said, the smartness that I'm considering is they can learn things, they can communicate. There are some people who can't connect information. You tell them, hey, fact A, fact B, you're like, so what about fact C? And they're like, I don't know, you haven't told me about it. And then other people who can draw those parallels. So at least in this sense, that's all I'm trying to say, is they're not like clearly the ones being grifted. That's kind of what I mean. Like, imagine someone seeing a magic trick with cards and being like, that's actual magic. Like, that's not the conclusion they would come to here. They'd actually be able to reason a little bit about these things, just not come to factual conclusions in all cases. That's a very common state people get to, where you can ask them a politically charged question and they physically cannot answer the question directly. Yeah, but I think this is due to a distrust that people have in a bunch of things, media, and in, like, okay, so in the case of where I see this happen a lot is in a YouTube video or something, and then it's like, well, now this is going to be recorded forever, and you might be pulled out of context saying this thing. And then also in who you're talking to, will they use this against you? Will this be used in some way? And I've seen the lack of trust in society exacerbate over the years. They exile themselves from all normal people, that even when they're convinced they can't go back. Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it essentially becomes a kind of a cult. And I recognize that it attracts a certain kind of person. I guess the thing that blew my mind about all that is, like I said, there was someone who was in this kind of pushing a lot of this content for years and then did change their mind. And they were actually part of a Netflix documentary too, apparently, where they even conducted experiments that showed that they were wrong. But hey, the wool is finally not over their eyes anymore. That's most people in echo chambers. No matter how much evidence you provide them to the contrary, they'll still continue to believe what they believe. Yeah, and it's made me wonder about the futility of talking to people about some of this stuff. You need someone who is epistemologically open to discussions. Yeah. Oh, I didn't actually run that. All right. Yeah, I'm going to do that now. Hey, Smurf. Any person is Turing complete. I actually don't think it's true that every person would be Turing complete. But I don't think Turing completeness of people makes sense. Oh yeah, this looks fine. So let's try it in bone mode now. Make sure nothing's going wrong here. There are always things we don't want to know how things really work. Like everything one uses, how's it made? Yeah. I think so too. I think that's sometimes a willful ignorance. Sometimes it's a lack of interest. Winifred. Okay, what happens when you complete this? I don't think anything happens, right? Yeah. Well, nothing important at least. That took 10 years to convert one person that's open to having their views changed to change their mind, and still a majority, 75% of the 4 didn't change their mind, which is perhaps even more concerning. Yeah, yeah, and they all, I mean, have different circumstances, and I didn't look into this so deeply. I don't know if I only looked into 2 of the people. One changed their mind, one didn't, but I don't know about the other 2 people at all. Maybe they, yeah, maybe they didn't do anything. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's tough to have a constructive conversation. Yeah, yeah. I guess my general thoughts coming out of that, and let me commit this before I forget. My thoughts coming out of that were, you can't change people, or at least not directly. And what do you do as a result? So I think as a result, people get kind of choosy. It's like, okay, well, pick the people who you don't need to change because you already get along with them. And then that choosiness kind of leads to echo chambers, which then kind of leads to you seeing, if you ever change your beliefs enough from your friends or your family, it's probably hard for you to still talk on the same level. And I've seen this, actually, I have some examples that I can't share because they're too personal, but, or friends information, where I've seen friendships deteriorate due to this evolution. And it's not even, I'm going to talk about this too vaguely if I continue. So yeah. Anyway, it's just kind of sad. I think a lot of this just leads to divisiveness. And that's what I think is really what I have an issue with. It's like, I feel like we should all be able to find common ground. And there are so many things trying to like tear us apart. And you see it in everything, everything now. Even opinions in video games, man, the amount of like name calling I've seen on, I don't know, World of Warcraft forums. Like, it's a video game, people. You're not the worst for enjoying a certain flavor of the game or for wanting a certain thing to be a certain way. Winifred, 2025 to 2025. Well, presumably they were alive before that. Depending on the play, you already had more second thoughts than the others. I'm not sure. I think it was actually seeing this, because when they were describing it, they were saying things like, I kept expecting the sun to go down, and it didn't. Yeah. Can make the change easier, set a path. Yeah. I think there are things you can do to facilitate it. Also, I don't think it's true that you truly can't change people. I think it just takes a lot of effort and a lot of like, yeah, leading a horse to water and not making them drink. Because I've seen people change my life, and I think it has to come from them, but I think it can be steered or guided in some ways. I don't mean manipulatively either. So do we have, are we getting anywhere? I think we are. But man, there's so much dialogues, greetings, etc. This is when we find all the other strings in the code base. I think we have something here saying to just search for quotation marks. Yeah. So I'm gonna bump this down to here. All right, what is this? Why aren't these translated? Isn't this dead simple? Oh, what? Hello? Oh, there's no space. All right, so the best thing for me to do is do this. TR, and then that, and then that. Okay, and then we close these things with a comma, and what is this? An error? Errors. Yeah, and then put this on all of these. Okay, I'm missing something. Oh, there's no TR on that? Oops. Well, I don't know how I messed that up so badly. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so now all those are translated. I wonder what other strings there are. That was it? Why didn't I just do this earlier? No, that wasn't it. There are like 3 more there. Is that everything? Yeah, that's everything. No, these 2 as well. These as well. Okay, never mind. There are a lot. Most important question, what's your shirt color tomorrow? I don't know, but I steamed and ironed like 9 shirts this weekend. And I think steaming is very important. It's also what lets the sleeves get to be at least somewhat smooth. Because I hate ironing sleeves. It's the worst. All right, so you fished, you fled. This is for the dialogue title, essentially. You won, you lost. These are all battle outcomes. Maybe I should just put that there. Okay, so let's take that. Battle outcomes. Perfect. All right, keep going through the rest of this file. We had like 4 more strings down there. Yep, there they are. All right, at least one of your adventurers is flagged for battle. This is going to be considered an error. You can only fight an elite monster once. And you cannot auto battle against elite monsters. Okay, any other strings in this file that I have not modified? And is there an easy way to find this stuff? I'd love to figure that out. I'm just looking for green and then making sure that it's translated if it has to be. So there's some green, like somewhere over here we had V separation, I think. I don't even know where that is anymore. Yeah, there it is. Like that doesn't need to be translated. But then any other green should have a TR call around it, and it does. These all do. This does. Current state on or off. Okay, sure. And then these do too. Cool. Yeah. Steamed and iron? Isn't steaming a replacement for ironing? Not exactly. Like, I don't know how you'd steam a collar. You might be able to. And then same thing, really any edges. I feel like you can't steam edges all that well. But maybe I'm just bad at it. Okay. So this is end battle screen. Translate strings in end battle screen. I probably should have tried building that. You know, just dry clean and save yourself the hassle. Isn't that super expensive? I got a suit dry cleaned and I think it was like $40 and it was just 3 pieces of clothing. So, yeah, I think it's expensive. What's the second chat rule? The other chat rule is don't dox people. Or really just don't share someone's personal information unless they made it public. So if you're like, my name is JD, then I'm okay with people then referring to you as JD from then on. But like, also, I don't even know that your name is JD. I've been calling you that since you came into the stream because those are the first 2 letters of your name. I assume it's your name. I think it used to be like $1 per shirt. Yeah, I think when you wear one every day, though, I think it's not cheap. Also, I got to like go somewhere and then get them back. I found out there's some dry cleaning service that'll actually come to your place and pick stuff up. But that was only for the suit that I looked into that. So this is done. Crop data. Is it noon yet? It's past noon. Okay, I should probably just go get lunch. Okay, yeah. Yeah, we'll continue calling you JD then. Real name is Matt. What a jerk. All right, I'm going to get lunch. I will be gone for about maybe an hour. I'll try to get back at about 1 p.m. And then we'll just do more of this. So if this has been your jam, then great. If not, I totally get it. It is not entertaining to watch. It is not entertaining to do. But such is life. So thank you all for watching. Hope to see you here again. Have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.